Welcome to this late night live edition of It's in the Blood. We're going to get back into the NFL free agency so far this season, getting ready for the draft coming up in less than a month now.
Hold on, I have something to say.
Go for it.
I'm so glad that I got this whole headphone situation out because I'm pretty sure the first couple times you use that intro, it's blown my eardrums.
I don't think it hurt that bad, but
No, Dad, you could hear it in the other room. It was so loud coming out of these headphones, and I had it turned down as low as it could be, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't hear." So every time that plays, there's just like, ever since I got it fixed, it's just like a small moment of joy. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna have my eardrums for an extra year of my life now.
Just a quick overall take. I know that most of the heavy hitters have been dealt with already. What was your number one takeaway from free agency so far this year?
Based off of like social media and stuff, because I keep up with as much as I can. The number one thing I took away from it is no matter what the Cincinnati Bengals do, the fans will not be happy, because personally, I think all the pickups they made were reasonable and fairly good. I mean, they weren't all geared towards the offensive line, but they're still the draft. And I just seen like so much hate coming towards like all of the Cincinnati Bengals social media accounts and stuff, for they're like, "Oh, you signed this guy, why didn't you sign this guy? Oh, you signed this guy, why didn't you sign this guy?" And I'm just like, I feel like they beefed up their defense, and that was why they were losing games despite the shitty O-line. Like, they beefed up their defense to help them stop losing games.
So let's start there then, since that's what we're into. Signings of the Cincinnati Bengals in the offseason. They re-signed Brandon Allen for a one-year quarterback. I think that was earned. What do you think?
I mean, the one game that Joe Burrow did not play in that any Cincinnati Bengals fans care about was the Pittsburgh game, and it was Ryan Finley. So, I mean, yeah, he deserved it because he didn't play well, but I mean, he didn't do as bad as, some of the games in the past seasons we've seen with Ryan Finley. So, I think, he did okay for his first time playing with them, I think.
I feel like he earned it. I think he earned another year to be the backup. I was not really impressed with Ryan Finley, I gotta say.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't impressed with him, and that last year with Andy Dalton and him playing after he got hurt or whatever, I don't even know what happened. He benched him on his birthday because he was playing horrible. I do remember that, actually, and I was just like, you can't get any worse. Like, I up until that point, I was like, you can't get any worse, and they put him in to play a couple games, and I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that, because I guess you can get a lot worse.
So they re-signed Samaje Perine for a 2-year deal. No, I can't see the details on it, which I feel like as a backup running back or a third down back, his numbers were pretty comparable to Joe Mixon's from last season. I think that's another deserved re-sign, and I'm glad they gave him an opportunity.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Joe Mixon has been getting hurt, and not a number one running back, and so he did okay, for filling in for Joe Mixon. And so if Joe Mixon is hurt, we don't know how much he's recovered or if he's going to get hurt again. So it's good to have that backup. And I don't think, re-signing him was a bad idea, because they already have him. They don't have to spend a lot of money on him because he's not huge and he still has talent.
Right on. And so just to skip to the next part of that, the offensive line, they re-signed one, and then they added Riley Rife to a 1-year, $7.5 million deal. That's a $5.5 million signing bonus. I think that was a good get. I think that's really going to help them at the tackle position.
Yeah, that was one of the things also that, like, his signing specifically was what made me start noticing, like, the Bengals fan base, like, attacking them. And I'm like, they can't sign, every big name tackle there is just because they need an offensive line. There's still other teams out there looking for the same things. And so, I think it was a good pickup. And, it was only a 1 year deal. So if he gets hurt or if he performs terribly, they're not stuck with him. And they're giving him a chance. And I don't think he's bad at all. Like in Minnesota, when they played with him, wasn't that bad. And I know that one guy does not affect the entire line completely, but like, I don't know. I just like I don't understand why everyone's attacking this guy because I think he can only help.
So, and then going past that, they re-signed Quentin Spain for 1 year. I'm neither for nor against that. I mean, I think he deserved a chance to come back, but if they would have let him go, I would have understood too.
Right, right.
Jumping to the defensive line,
See, this is where like this whole defense, every defensive signing, I'm 100% behind.
Well, I mean, they really, here was my only thought about this, and we'll kind of go through this really quick. Trey Hendrickson, they gave the big deal to.
4 years, 60 mil.
Yeah, 32 in the first two. We'll come back. And I can't, Larry Ogunjobi, Mike Daniels, and on the defensive line, they both got 1 year deals, not committing long-term to these guys. Okay, fine. Then they went to the cornerback position, which we're getting ready to delve into. Eli Apple gets a 1 year deal.
I love that.
Yeah. Chidobe Awuzie. I can't even say his name. Awuzie, that's it. He got the 3 year deal. And then Tony Brown.
They got Ricardo Allen also.
Yeah, he's a safety, but I will get to there. They signed Brandon Wilson for 2 more years. They got Ricardo Allen at safety, and then they got Mike Hilton and Tony Brown, and then Awuzie and Apple at cornerback. Now, William Jackson had some really choice words for the fans of Cincinnati and really kind of took a shot at the front office as well. Glad, he didn't wish anybody, badly, but he didn't have a lot of good things to say leaving Cincinnati. And we talked about this prior. I'm not a fan of Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator. I think he can't just keep plugging people into spots and ticking off the good players that they had because they traded away or lost their best defensive players in free agency or during the trade this last year. How do you feel about all that?
Well, so I have kind of mixed feelings about that. Like the veteran players they lost, like Gino and Carl. Carlos Dunlap is who I was actually thinking. I'm not Carl Lawson. But I think it comes down to not the defensive coordinator, not the offensive coordinator, not the fans, not the city. I think it comes down to Zach Taylor, like specifically. And, let me elaborate on that because, like, I'm not just like I don't hate Zach Taylor. I just don't love him. Like, I think he would be formidable lower in the totem pole than where he's at. But so I think, it depends on who you ask. If you talk to Joe Burrow says, I love Zach Taylor. He's an awesome coach. He follows him. He supports him 100%. But then you look at Carlos Dunlap, who was so unhappy. He just posted on Twitter, I'm selling my house and all this stuff. And I really think it's like the age difference. These veteran players have all these new players, these new stars, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, all these younger people in their first or second year who look up to Zach Taylor. And so, all these veteran players have lived this team with, veteran management prior to him. And so I think they just didn't respect him as like a new coach. And that's why these younger guys do, because like, oh, this is my first NFL coach. They've never had anyone else. So they think, okay, this is awesome. Like, I love this. This is my job now. And this is my boss. And so I think that the opinion like is different because of the age and how long they've been there and stuff like that. Like, I feel like if, say Marvin Lewis was still there with all the team they have, including Joe Burrow, I don't know that Joe Burrow and, T. Higgins and all of them might have like responded the same but I think they could have responded better because all these veteran players would be more willing to try. I just think they stopped trying.
I think they got a culture problem. I don't think that Zach Taylor knew how to establish the proper culture coming in as a head coach. It takes somebody that's been around for that, or somebody that's very strong, opinionated, and I just don't feel like that. I feel like that's where the disconnect was. I think them guys, the veterans especially, wanted somebody to come in and have a leader, and then they kind of had somebody that was just trying to feel his way through, and they didn't want to waste the good years of their career putting up with that. So when they bought that, most of them, except for a few, bit their tongue and waited for free agency, and now they're out and about doing their thing, and they're going to have choice things to say. I'm curious to see how he develops as a coach. I'm not a big fan. I really am not. If he develops properly as a coach and he proves me wrong, then so be it. I just hope that this overall number one pick, Joe Burrow, is not wasted with countless injuries and concussions and all the bad things that can happen to a quarterback when your offensive line schemes, for lack of a better term, suck.
Right. No, I agree completely.
Let's if you want, let's hit some highlights from the AFC North. Baltimore signings, the Sammy Watkins thing, I'm indifferent about.
I don't think it's going to make or break their team.
Yeah, good for Sammy. Josh Oliver is a tight end from the Jaguars. I don't even know why, but they gave up a conditional pick for that. Kevin Zeitler, offensive guard, one defensive end, Tyus Bowser. I don't see anything on this thing of the other four defensive players that really stands out to me as being anything significant. It seems like they have a lot of money already tied up and didn't have a lot of money to spend. Fair?
Well, also, like, speaking of Baltimore, like, specifically, I feel like they should have done more. I know they might have had money issues, but, like, they let so many good players go. And so I don't know what their draft plans are, but I don't know. It's just like, I don't think, Baltimore is going to be the top team this year in that division. I made a statement that made a lot of people mad the other day.
Cool.
Yeah, I told this live stream, this group of people, that but the Baltimore Ravens will never win a ring with Lamar Jackson. And it came off like I was attacking them. But I was just like, what he's like doing better and doing worse as his career progresses. And people are figuring him out, so he's having to resort to different options. He came out in multiple games this last year due to injuries, and I think the last one was like a concussion in the playoffs, which was not his fault. They lost. I think they were going to lose that game either way. Buffalo was just tough, but I really, I think Lamar is just like a slightly more impressive RG3. He's going to get hurt one time and his career is going to be done.
I don't disagree with that at all. You know what? You're right. I think this year proved that let's play this team a couple times and let him go out there. The first year where he dominated was because nobody knew how to handle him. Now they've got a scheme set up and everybody's ready to rock, and it's easy to deal with. So yeah, I don't even feel like that they're a free agent. I don't think they did anything really super to improve their team. And I feel the same way about Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland has done anything to really improve their team either.
I mean, actually, like, Cleveland's picked up a lot.
A lot. Oh, you
sorry.
froze.
I think I froze for a second. But I think Cleveland's picked up, they picked up on their defense, which was like their problem this year. Is like they were clicking everyone on offense, but their defense was losing them games.
Yeah, cornerback Troy Hill was probably the biggest, and John Johnson at safety was the two big splashes that they made.
Let's see. John Johnson, they picked up Tack McKinley, the guy who was supposed to come to Cincinnati last year but didn't pass his physical. That dude's a great player, but I don't think, like last year was just not his time to be, be a star. So I think him going to Cleveland this year, I think he's going to put up numbers.
Yeah, I mean, that's three good ads, and
they re-signed Rashard Higgins, so they're keeping a wide receiver. He already has a connection with Baker. I believe Phillips had said that OBJ was staying in Cleveland, which I don't personally think that's a good idea, but maybe one more year with them, and they might be able to work things out. Oh, look who's here.
Yeah, she was fantastic earlier tonight. Yo, hey Scuba, what's up? Thank you for coming in here for a few minutes. We're going through the AFC North and free agency. I don't know if that's something you dig, but I appreciate you stopping in and seeing us. By the way, that's Alex. That's my daughter, and she actually thought you were badass. Was her terminology.
I didn't want to type it in the chat because I didn't know how anyone would take that, but my literal words were, I think she's a badass, and that was what I was going to say, but then I just censored myself and didn't say anything.
No, it's all good. But yeah, like back to where we were at there, I don't. Yeah, you're right. They made a couple small splashes. Maybe that was the smart play. And then you get down to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a few more signings of free agency, but I, they lost a lot on their offensive line. Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think I just think he's a prima donna. I think he's just mouth anymore. I mean, I know he's got talent, but
I mean, he is talented. He's got sticky hands. He's like, he's just like AJ Green. I mean, you can't take this year in consideration or last year because he didn't play, but like, look at him in New York. He had sticky hands. He didn't drop nothing. You could throw anything. There could be 4 bodies on him. He's like DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I think DeAndre Hopkins is better personally, but he's talented. I just don't think he has a connection with Baker, and I don't think that connection's going to get there unless they fix it in this offseason, like now.
If you want to go on, why don't you pick something else in the AFC that you want to point? I know that this New England free agency was probably supposed to be the point of emphasis today because how much money they spent, what they got, and how it all turned out.
This was like a historical year for Bill Belichick's career in
You know
free
what?
agency.
I'll go down through it, hit some of the really good high points. You tell me what you think. Cam Newton.
Mean, I was gonna say I got this list too, right here in front of me.
What do you think about Cam?
I like Cam. I have a Cam Newton jersey. I mean, it's Carolina jersey because I don't know if I have the heart to own a Patriots jersey. But
what's up, Rob?
Hey Rob. But I like Cam. I like this. Back to our last stream, our last football stream. I think it's a good idea. It's a second chance. They're going to have more time. I still think the New England Patriots playbook is probably one of the more difficult playbooks to learn. And under the, situation of COVID and everything last year with no off season, no really spring training, they were not together basically until the season started. Everything was virtual. He did not get the, proper time to learn something so in depth that, Bill Belichick has in his hand. He's like, yeah, learn this in 30 seconds. And he failed. He looked horrible. He was embarrassed. I think this is going to be a fresh start. I don't know that they're going to beat Buffalo in the East, but I think they're going to I'm going to say win at least 9 games. I mean, they added a 17th game. So I think that is in perspective. They'll have another game to play and everything, but I don't know. I like Cam there, and with these additions that Bill Belichick took the time to put in, I like this team right now.
Happy birthday, Shelby.
Happy birthday, Shelby.
Yeah,
Also, Rob's a Bucks fan, and I hate that, but you're a nice guy, so I don't hate you. Yeah, that was something that was interesting to talk about. They signed every single one of their starters from last year. Oh, no, I agree, too, that 9 wins is not going to get you in the playoffs, especially with the 17-game season this year. That adds a whole nother game. 9 wins is like the equivalent of going 8-8 now. But Tampa Bay, I just want to ask you, you think they're going back to the Super Bowl this year? I'm asking you, Dad.
Oh, I thought he was asking Rob. Tampa
No,
Bay
I
going
already
back to the.
know the answer. I don't have to ask him.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's true. He thinks that. I'm sure he probably thinks that they are. I'm going to say no, pretty definitively no, and I got 3 reasons why.
I've got yeah, see, here it is right here. I told you I didn't have to ask him. You know, a diehard Bucks fan has just won their Super Bowl for the first time in 18 years or whatever. And they re-signed their whole team.
That's a fantastic point, Rob. Though, and I will buy into this point right here. I was a Brady hater right up to the point that he signed with our team and became the best quarterback we ever had. That there is no truer statement about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. That is probably the best quarterback that you've ever had, and he was the right guy for you guys to make a run. Completely agree. Now back to the reasons why I don't think they're going to make it back to the Super Bowl, and it's the same reason why I don't think Baltimore is going to make it back to the Super Bowl.
I don't think you can compare the teams.
I got a great comparison. Brady's been in Tampa Bay now. He played one season. He played good. He was not invincible, but I have a feeling that going back into this year, you don't think New Orleans is going to be ready to try to defend him. You don't think that the rest of the league is not going to be ready to defend him there.
Look, any team that plays against a team that Brady is their quarterback says the same thing every time they go to play him. You know, they're like, we got to play our best game. It's Tom Brady. And almost every time they lost, you know, Patrick Mahomes' first AFC championship was like the most heartbreaking game I've ever watched in my life. And you know who he lost to? Tom Brady. You know, that dude, I'm not saying he's not talented and he's not invincible, but Brady will be in the playoffs this year unless he gets broken.
I agree. That's 11. That's an 11-win team right there. Do you disagree?
Easy 11. I mean, I have not looked at their schedule. I've looked at a handful of teams, probably like 5 or 6. I know Brady's team should have been up there because everyone wants to know where he's going. But no, I didn't.
Yeah, I agree with.
I gotta respect Rob on this one. You know, I will respect you because you love your team and Brady is there because you love Mahomes. And I mean, I love Mahomes. Everyone, the Chiefs kingdom, they hate him, all of them. I don't understand it. I never will understand it. You know, they went from Alex Smith, who I personally think is phenomenal, until he got killed, basically. And is still played good this past year. You know, with Andy Reid to Mahomes with Andy Reid, and I love that so much. Like that, we got 10 more years of that.
So, I just, since we're on the subject of Tampa Bay, I felt it necessary to jump over to their signings in this free agency and re-signing Leonard Fournette and Chris Godwin. They put the tag on Godwin.
They tagged Godwin.
But I still think that's very appropriate. Also, they gave Gronk another 1-year deal.
Yeah, I wasn't not surprised, and I wasn't like, you know, he just came out of retirement, which, you know, I could have saw it going either way, but I think since Brady's still there, he's like, hey, you can do it again. You can do at least one more year with me. They're best friends. They're going to keep going.
I think Gronk will have a better season this year. Calling it right now.
I mean, I personally like Gronk. Like when we go down to Florida, I'm going to go drive to the stadium and I'm going to buy a Gronk jersey because I'm going to buy every Super Bowl winner's at least one jersey. And that's the jersey I'm getting because Gronk's a badass. I love him. I loved him in New England. I just hate Brady.
So, you know, and then a couple offensive linemen re-signed, you know, very team contracts. Then you go to the defensive side, and then they sign Shaq Barrett.
That dude's a monster.
Now there's that defensive line with Shaq Barrett and Sue. I gotta think that their defense is going to be very formidable again this year.
You know whose defense I'm getting more and more excited for every day of free agency? The Chiefs. Did you see who they signed the other day?
I did not.
I don't want to say his name wrong, so let me pick up my notes.
And Florida Thunder digging with Rob. Hey, we're going to be
June 20th
in
through 24th.
Orlando. We're going to be in Orlando the 20th through the 24th, and we are definitely going to the west coast of Florida to hit the beach, and I'm going to do a little swinging. So,
I am 100% going to be at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium at least one day that we're there.
Right on. Marty Verstal, thank you for stopping by too. Appreciate it. Right now we are we're sitting here on Tampa Bay's free agency hires and re-signs.
So Kansas City, their defensive line now, they already had Chris Jones, but they just added Jaron Reed, and they played together in Seattle.
So I'm going to go finish going through this. There's only a few more. The Levante David signing was a 2-year deal worth up to $25 million. I think that's an upgrade. Kevin Minner is back for 1 year. And then they re-signed Ryan Suckup. But I think that defensive line, I think, is where they really shored it up. I think they improved it, and I think they're going to get a lot more sacks this year. I still think they're a good team, and I really don't like Tom Brady. But if he's protected, he's going to find a way not to lose games, and that means he's going to win games.
This isn't about me hating Tom Brady. It has nothing to do with that, because I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were Super Bowl contenders before Brady. Like, the team they had, they just needed a quarterback. So Mark's here. But the playoffs this year, or the first round of the playoffs, which is really funny that I think it's like the first time ever Tom Brady played in a wild card game. But that was one of the best games in the NFC playoffs, was the Washington Tampa Bay game. I was heartbroken for the Washington football team. Like I said, this was nothing against Brady. Like, I was seriously heartbroken because I have not watched a better playoff game since then.
Yeah, and Rob, I couldn't agree with that more. I don't think Jameis is a bad quarterback. He just makes bad choices, and that cost him a ton of interceptions, which cost you guys a ton of games last year. You put somebody in place that did not turn the ball over, and look what happened.
Yeah, I'm actually excited. I know he's going to be fighting with Taysom Hill for the starting job because they just dumped a whole bunch of money into Taysom Hill. But I hope, honestly, that Jameis Winston gets to play, be their starter, and they can just continue to use Taysom as that option quarterback, tight end, receiver, whatever they want him for, because I want to see what he can do under Sean Payton.
So, and then there's the other thing, we were in the South there, and yeah, no doubt 33 interceptions is horrible. Which team in the NFC do you think made the best moves during free agency? I know where your answer's at, because that's where I've got my computer screen right up to. So tell me who you think made the best free agent pickups.
I really, truly feel like we're on the same page with this one, but I'm going Arizona Cardinals and also the Washington football team themselves. But specifically for this question, I'm answering Arizona Cardinals. I think they are definitely just bumped themselves up from good to probably great now. As long as, they can all have chemistry and work together, I'm really excited. I like Kyler Murray. If anybody watched our video about Deshaun Watson and I started talking about the potential of Deshaun Watson going there, it's not happening now, but when I started talking about that, I got real upset because I did not like that trade. But I love Kyler Murray. I know he's short, but, Russell Wilson's short too, and he does fine most of the time. But I love him, and now they got J.J. Watt with their other defensive end, Chandler Jones. They're going to be awesome. They got DeAndre Hopkins, Kirkpatrick, or what's his name, Christian Kirk. They did trade Kenyon Drake to the Raiders, which the Raiders are really stupid for taking that trade. If they think that's going to fix their team, it's just them. They're doomed from the start. They're like Detroit and the Jets. They have a little bit better of a situation going on, but being in their division, I think the Chargers are going to take second in that division this year, and it's going to be Chiefs, Chargers, possibly Broncos, and Raiders finish last. That's my prediction because, I mean, I have to hate them, but seriously, they're such a stupid organization. Like, they don't do anything right. The only thing they've been consistent about is their fan base.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say that back to where we were at just a second ago, the NFC West has by far got to be the most interesting division in football next year. The Cardinals, they picked up AJ Green, they picked up JJ Watt, and then they got two nice cornerbacks. One that they already have, but they re-signed
Yeah,
Robert Alford and Malcolm Butler.
Malcolm Butler, yeah, I really like him. I don't like Tennessee, so I'm glad, he's not there.
And the center Rodney Hudson that came over from the Raiders. And I know that
See, I feel like the Raiders are just making dumb decisions. They're like, oh, you can have our center and we'll take Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, and then the other part of that ends up being is that they made a lot of good choices. They made their team better in free agency, I'm going to say without a doubt. But so did the Rams, and they did it with very little signings. But they signed Leonard Floyd to a 4-year deal at linebacker, which I think was a pretty good sign. And then they put Deshaun Jackson as a wide receiver, and then Matthew Stafford, which I think instantly makes them a contender.
I think either Arizona or the Rams will at least be in the NFC Championship. At the least.
Now, going to the teams that I think are going to sink, and that the first one on that list is San Francisco. I don't think they've really improved their situation much.
They haven't improved, but they haven't gone backwards. Their only issue was injuries last year. They lost 12 of their starters in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, what do you Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, the contract that they gave Trent Williams, the tackle, 6 years.
I mean, that was a lot. That was a lot of money.
And then go ahead.
But less than 2 years ago, they were the number one defense in the league. And, they weren't the best offense, but they have George Kittle, and he's freaking awesome. They still have Raheem Mostert, who is a badass wide receiver or running back. I think they have Debo, but their wide receiver core is not great. But all they need is, like a Tom Brady, like a game manager, to sit behind them, and their defense. They haven't lost too much on defense. So
I like I said, I'm not super high, but I just don't think they improved their situation like the two above mentioned teams did. And I feel the same way about Seattle. I feel like they did okay.
Seattle is not going to do much this year. I really don't. I mean, they re-signed Carlos Dunlap. They don't even know if their quarterback wants to be there or not. He says he still wants to stay, but that makes it sound like he's just saying that to make his fans happy.
So San Francisco and Seattle, let's just go ahead and say it, both have quarterback issues going into the year.
Russell Wilson's issue is he's mad they won't fix his offensive line. That is his issue. That's probably the main reason he wants to leave. He doesn't want to leave Seattle. He loves it there. He's had success there. He's won a ring there. But he has no offensive line. Look at the freaking Super Bowl this year. What was the first thing they did in the offseason? They signed 3 big dudes. 3 big dudes with talent. That's what Seattle needs to be doing. And then Russell Wilson will be happy.
Yeah, I just see it. I just see it as that Arizona and the Rams are by far the class in that division.
100%.
I really believe it, and I think there's going to be controversy. I think there's going to be internal bickering amongst the other two teams. And even though I think the other two teams have better coaching, I still think that there's gonna be a lot of issues there. But let's just for shits and giggles, let's go to the absolute garbage division of the NFC and talk about the team that we think is probably going to do the best out of that deal, and
Washington.
that's NFC East. Yeah,
Washington. The Cowboys, How many years was Dak's deal for? They're not going to be in the playoffs for at least 4 years
4
because
years and 160 million.
yeah, their quarterback is the highest paid in the league. Their wide receiver is the highest paid in his position in the league, and their running back, who's pretty much washed up now, is their highest running back in the league. Literally, all of their money is in 3 dudes. You need a whole team to win games. They're not going to be contenders until those contracts are up. And
Absolutely.
even then, they're the Cowboys. So until Jerry Jones either dies or steps down, they're never going to be contending.
And you know what? And then I actually believe that I think the Giants spent good money in free
Also,
agency.
pause on that. I know he's talking about Seattle, and when you said, I think the coaching staff's better, my first thought, I didn't say it out loud, was, well, Pete Carroll makes some questionable decisions, and so the fact that he just said that, like, I'm glad someone was, like, on the same page with me, because you said, yeah, I think the coaching staff's better with the other two, and I was just like, well, Pete Carroll, sometimes he's a dumbass. So, yeah, I just had to throw that in there right there because it was there.
Yeah, that's
Also,
true.
Cody's
They
here. So, hey, Cody, thanks for showing up. I don't know how you won that horse race earlier today, but Dad's still mad about it.
It is what it is. He gets to come down tomorrow and pick up his prize.
I should have won.
Yeah. So anyway, going to the Giants, I see a lot of good signings in their free agency, and I
Yeah, I
hope
have
that's
those
enough
up
to
here.
help them a little bit because I really don't think the Eagles have much of a chance of anything.
Oh, the Eagles. I'm excited to see if Joe Flacco plays. I want to watch him. I think they'll do well with him, honestly. You know what? As long as it's not the Cowboys, I don't care. But with that being said, Daniel Jones is not good. And they got rid of Colt McCoy. He went to Arizona, which I kind of like that. If Kyler Murray gets hurt, you got Colt McCoy that's going to stand in. I kind of love that, actually. But, Daniel Jones is just not their answer. And I was talking to Amanda the other day, and did you see who the Giants signed as their backup?
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon.
Yeah,
Oh, man. They're just, I feel like they got rid of Eli, and then they were like, well, we'll just stop for like 10 years or so, and then we'll start over.
but they put all this money into receiving. I mean, I guess Kyle Rudolph and Kenny Galladay. I mean, that's putting money into your receiving core, and those are solid guys. I mean, they really are.
Yeah, but they overpaid for Kenny Galladay, like, by a lot.
I agree.
And so I think they made a mistake, funneling too much money in the wrong person.
Yeah, because everything else in there doesn't look that great. They franchise tagged Leonard Williams at defensive end, which
Yeah, I like him. He's a monster. He's good.
But I think they did enough in free agency. Oh, I gotta say Mike Glennon's worse than Daniel Jones.
I mean, Mike Glennon did play this year because Mustache Man in Jacksonville hurt his thumb or something.
Well,
He wasn't horrible. I mean, I think they were purposefully tanking, but he wasn't horrible. I mean, but Daniel Jones has the longest run by a quarterback ever and then tripped. No one was around him and he fell 80 yards.
And
To be fair, I couldn't do that, but
and I gotta say that I don't see anything special about anything that Dallas did in free agency, except for they made their team worse by giving Dak that big a contract.
Yeah, they got rid of their cornerback who went to Cincinnati. I think he was a good piece on defense. They really need to fix their defense because last year they were pretty much fine, while Dak was still playing until, their defense was losing them games. Dak was putting up 500, 600 yards a game and losing. That was like the Steelers playing the Browns in the playoffs. Like he threw the ball like 70 or 80 times and for like 600 yards and lost the game.
And like I said, and wasting precious time on a division that's.
We haven't talked about the one team on this division I actually care about yet.
Oh, well, I still say that was the best. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a good pickup for 1 year.
Well, they did say he might not even be their starter, and I'm going to be upset if he doesn't start. This is his last chance to, do something because he's probably going to retire after this year. But they do have Taylor Heineke. And like I said earlier, that playoff game was, I don't know if it was like his first NFL game, so he did well, or he's just really good, or no one really knows that much about him. But the pickups they did have, they got that Adam Humphries, the wide receiver, and they got Curtis Samuel as wide receiver alongside with what's his name, Terry McLaurin. Is that his name? I don't know if I said that right or not. Terry McLaurin.
I don't see the name on the free agent list.
Well, he's already there. He's not a free agent.
Oh, I'm not that familiar with the receiving core.
But they got an offensive tackle. They picked up two linebackers, three cornerbacks. They got Fitzy. They got some good wide receivers with not big names.
Yeah, Adam Humphries and Curtis Samuel are both quality receivers. But you know what? I'm going to go back and we talked about it for a brief second earlier about William Jackson when he got to Washington, trash talking Cincinnati fans and the organization, which is probably fairly deserved, and taking on, like you said, I agree with Zach Taylor. But to give him 3 years and $40 million, I think they overpaid him because I don't think he is that level of a cornerback. I think he's good. I don't think he's worth that much.
I agree. Yeah, I agree 100%.
So when you talk smack about teams and then you go in there and you sign the big deal, he better put up, or anything he said is going to go.
Let's be real, though. The Washington football team's defense, it was already great before they signed anybody. Not even just because of Chase Young. He just made them more great.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they should be the class of the division, and I don't even know who's going to be quarterback. So, that's fair enough. You know what? Let's go to the absolute mess that is the NFC North.
Okay, well, go ahead.
So, I guess we should start with Chicago, and the trade that's made everybody confused. And really didn't really make anybody in Chicago happy at all. I cannot wait to see him get booed in Soldier Field as watching Andy Dalton take over that team.
Oh, man, if anybody that's here has not seen the TikTok or YouTube channel called Wyatt's World, I will find the link and drop it later. But you have to check this dude out. He is my favorite football fan parody account. This dude's hilarious, and he makes fun of everybody. But with that being said, I kind of love not Carson Palmer. Same person, basically. Andy Dalton playing in Chicago. Like, I actually love that. I have heard rumors that they might draft a quarterback, and so maybe he won't be the starter, but I really think, like they should have done in Cincinnati last year, they should have kept him, let Joe Burrow sit a year. They could draft a quarterback and let him sit a year and just let Andy play. They can't look worse than they did last year. They made it to the playoffs, and they lost their last 4 games straight or something like that.
So I got a comment on this one for Marty. Marty, I'm going to tell you without a doubt, Andy Dalton is a better quarterback than what you had. He is not.
I like Nick Foles.
He is not. He's not a great quarterback, and he is not a great quarterback. But I think Mitch Trubisky was a waste of space. I like Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles has the will to win. I'm really surprised that that's who they picked up. I really am. But I don't think that he's going to hurt them like Trubisky did. So
all I'm saying is they screwed up when they didn't take Mahomes. They purposefully skipped Mahomes for Trubisky, and Trubisky is like an untalented Mahomes. They have the same style of play. He just doesn't have the knowledge and in the depth for the game to be able to perform at the same level as him. And he has a dumb face.
Going through most every one of their signings was really small. franchise tagged Allen Robinson.
Yeah, who
Fair
did
enough.
not want to be franchise tagged. He hasn't signed it yet.
Yeah, and that's being said, there you go. The 1-year deal for Damian Williams, blah. Mario Edwards got the 3-year, $11 million deal. Not a big deal. They have faith in Cairo Santos. They gave him 3 years.
I mean, as long as your kicker can make field goals, sign him to 5 years. Keep him. So you don't have to worry about that every year. So I'm not surprised they gave him a deal. So that's one less thing they have to worry about.
Yeah. Well, but going through that, I think Chicago probably has the same type of season they had last year. They may squeak into the playoffs. They may not. They may fall a little short. Do you think that the Detroit Lions increased their value as a team?
With Jared Goff? No.
I have to ask.
I like Matt Stafford better than Jared Goff 100 times. Plus, they lost their number one receiver. They lost their quarterback and their number one receiver. They're going to do worse than they did this year, I think.
Agreed wholeheartedy.
I'm
Green
sorry
Bay.
to all of your Michigan friends that like the Lions and have suffered, but they already know. So
Yeah, so I think that's a moot point. I think they're going to slip and fall. Does Green Bay repeat?
look, I have Green Bay chokes every year in the playoffs. It's because like Aaron Rodgers wants money, so he carries a team. He's got talent. He just carries his team with nobody, and so that's pretty funny. I think they'll make it into the playoffs. I think they'll probably take the division, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is kind of selfish. And that is the reason they don't have more, at least, Super Bowl appearances.
Going on to the next step here, Minnesota, very modest deals, but Mackenzie Alexander's not bad. Nick Vigil, I know, is a good linebacker. Dalvin Tomlinson's pretty solid. Beyond that, everything else is kind of ho-hum to me.
I mean, they have one of the best wide running backs in the league.
Yeah, and I mean, their quarterback situation's okay. I think he's overpaid too, but I still say it's okay.
So what Amanda said, they choke in the NFC Championship again. I don't know if you meant like because of this year or like in the future, like this coming year, which they did choke. They kicked a field goal when they needed a touchdown in the last minute of the game. That was, poor coaching and everything. But anyway, where was I going with this? Yeah, I think they will. Okay, in the future, I think they will choke in the championship game if they get there this year. There's a lot of tough competition coming in the NFC with the Rams now, because the Rams played a good game for what they had in the playoffs this past year. They could have beat them, and they were broken. But with the Cardinals, the Rams, the Bucks, the Saints, even, they're not a bad team. They just haven't figured their quarterback situation out all the way. They might not make it to the NFC Championship this year.
That's fair.
I mean, they'll be in the playoffs. I can guarantee that the Packers will be in the playoffs, but I don't think they will.
And yes, Nick Vigil was one of the draft picks that Cincinnati had that I loved. Mackenzie Alexander came over last year in a trade. I thought he played fair for a god-awful defensive coordinator and a god-awful setup. I think those are both going to be starters for that team just because they were not utilized correctly where they were at. And I have intimate knowledge because I watch them lose every week.
Proudly.
We didn't really get in. We got into Tampa Bay, but we didn't hit any of the other teams. Of the other 3 teams in the NFC South, was there anything in there that sparked your interest that gave you hope or took away hope from any of them teams?
Well, Atlanta will always choke. No matter who they have or what they do, they'll play well and still choke. But I did see in a lot of mock drafts coming up that they think Atlanta is going to draft Kyle Pitts. And I think that would be really good for them, actually. And so, I mean, a tight end doesn't make or break a team who can lose, put up 50 points and lose a game. But I think, having a good high scoring offense, a higher scoring offense will help them. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. There was nothing in the NFC South that really, really set me forward that I really liked. Um, and so and where we didn't go, the NFC is pretty much over with. I think we hit all the really high points. We did not delve into the AFC West at all.
Well,
And
I still want to talk about the Patriots because we just briefly brushed them after you said this is going to be a highlight of our conversation. We just talked about Cam Newton.
well, let's go
But
back up.
let's start with this right here. Amanda's comment.
I'm not sure. I know he's a great coach and he's good with talent, but here's the thing. It's a different set of egos in the NFL than it is in college. It's at least a 3-year plan before he gets his feet settled. I don't think they do anything the next 2 years.
Well, yeah, they're obviously in rebuild. I feel like any team that finishes last and gets the number one pick is in a rebuild. But I just want to ask you now that other people are watching us talk about it. Do you think there's a possibility that he might take Fields over Lawrence?
Yes, I
I
will.
do. I do. I think so. I really do.
I
Like,
mean, I
I've been
know.
so sold on him taking Lawrence this whole time. I was like, even in our last live stream with Amanda and Shelby and all of them, they were saying it, we were saying it. Like, the only reason Urban Meyer came was because the number one draft pick to get Trevor Lawrence. But after this past week, I have started thinking otherwise, that he might take Fields. And he had like the best pro day out of all of the quarterbacks so far. And
Yeah. Well, he's a dynamic. He's got dynamic qualities. He's got the speed. He's got strength and gumption. The shot he took in that game and continued to
the
play,
rib shot, yeah.
that kid is truly a man. And I feel like he played pretty well, all things considered, being broken.
I
Uh,
was so skeptical just because he was an Ohio State quarterback. And I'm still skeptical. I'm not going to say that I've had a change of heart, but I'm very skeptical because there's never really been a good quarterback come out of Ohio State. And I'm not, maybe not good, but that has never done anything.
and yeah,
Zach Wilson.
I think he's going to be up there, honestly. But here's the thing that I'm going to say, and this is exactly the conversation you and I done had once already. When Trevor Lawrence did not look good, was playing against Alabama and Ohio State.
Yeah, been like the closest to an NFL defense that he played all his career in the college.
Thank you, Shelby. Yeah, and there you go, and it's absolutely the truth. And seeing those games, he didn't look good. He didn't look settled the whole game. He never looked like he got into a rhythm where he could throw the ball. He looked like, Lamar Jackson running for his life.
That's exactly what I said. And, I'm not knocking on Trevor Lawrence. The dude's got an arm. The dude can run. He's, a lot like Lamar in college. But back to the Zach Wilson wanting to go to the Jets and everything. I have not heard on a mock draft, but I've heard from a lot of, YouTube channels that talk about this kind of thing, saying they really feel like the Jets should go after Panay.
That's who I want Cincinnati to
But
go
then
after.
see, now they're like skeptical and thinking, well, they don't know if they're gonna get rid of Sam Darnold or keep him. And I think they should keep him.
I think they draft a quarterback.
I mean, I think so too, but they did turn down that massive deal that the 49ers gave to Miami for basically nothing. But I
So
don't know. I mean, I think it's still you have to take in consideration we don't know what anyone's going to do until they do it in the draft.
So going on just a little bit forward, the next football stream that we should do has got to be about the draft. I really think that we've been on free agency. We've been through a lot of the details of it. We both have our opinions on how it turned out. I think we need to really start focusing on the draft next week.
Okay. First of all, Amanda's comment is really funny. I don't like Sam Darnold, but I think they should give him a chance.
Uh,
There's another one.
yeah, I mean,
Okay, well, speaking of the whole mono thing, did you see the padding and stuff he had to wear when he played?
no.
Oh, if you get a chance, look at that. They had like a full body armor underneath of his uniform because, like, when you have mono, like your inside swell, and if he were to get hit too hard, he could die. But he wanted to play, so he was like, he probably gained 50 pounds.
If I had to say what I think would be the best for the Jets, I think the Jets should keep Darnold. I think he's worth saving. I think he's worth working with. I
I'm
think they
actually
should
going to
go
find that real
after.
quick.
I think they should go after some other stuff. Um, I think that there's other positions that could use to be filled first for the Jets. I don't dislike the Jets. I don't understand why they have so much trouble in that city, but get something right, make the right picks because there's three players in this draft that I believe are talent for the ages, and that's Panay, Jamar
Pitts.
Chase, and Kyle Pitts. I think those three guys are the most talented guys in the draft, and I think that they should go after one of those three.
I think I've come to the conclusion that they need to go after Jamar Chase because it's what Burrow wants, and they need to keep him happy. I know that sounds like it's not that much, but like I really do feel that way.
Yeah, it's what's going to happen, and if that's what Joe wants for that team, then they should let him just go ahead and coach it too, because that's not what the team needs is another wide receiver right now. I really don't believe that. And you know what? And then going forward here, everybody that's in here tonight, I know that we've lost a few over the last couple of minutes. I can completely understand why we've been going for almost an hour. Hey, if you like this, make sure you slam the like button. Most everybody that's in here is probably subbed. I appreciate it. I know Alex does too. But if the next time we get ready to put out a live stream, maybe just drop a share in your social media. If you're on some of the sports stuff, maybe we can get some more other opinions in here, and we can have some more heated debates, because usually when you argue is when it's the most fun. But
Well, if Mark's still here, we know he can argue.
Sonia, I appreciate it, dear. You're not a football person, are you?
I asked her during your stream, and she said, I said, "Hey, do you like or watch football?" And she said, "Well, the Super Bowl falls on my birthday sometimes." So I just took that as maybe not, maybe so. Well, we have two Giants fans in here.
Hey, you know what? If you watch anything, that's pretty fantastic.
At least it's not the Jets.
The Jets just
I
seem
loved
like,
Eli Manning. Well, I love Peyton Manning, but because he's a Manning, I love him. I love Archie Manning. I love Peyton Manning. But you had good reason to vote or root for the Giants before this past couple years.
yeah, I mean, I think they really just went downhill on all aspects of everything. When Tom Coughlin left was the beginning of the end, honestly.
Yep.
I don't know where that leaves us now. Oh, yeah, I know where it leaves us. We got back into the whole draft thing. Going back to, well, we never got to the AFC South, but let's go back and finish the AFC East. And
Okay.
let's get back into this Patriots free agency stuff. I know everybody loves to talk about the Patriots.
Well, yeah, it's just a thing that Brady gave us for the last 20 years. Now everyone likes to talk about it. But I just want to go through the list of all of these free agents they signed. whether they were returning or their new players, just who they signed other than Cam Newton. That's the only person we talked about earlier. But let's just see how good your memory is. In our Cam Newton stream, what was the one player I was sure of that was going to be a free agent, that was going to sign with the Patriots, and you were just kept brushing it off? What was the one player? Who was it? Come on.
I don't remember. Hunter Henry?
Hunter Henry. He was like one of the first ones they signed, and I was like screaming at the TV. I was like, I knew it. I just felt it in my soul. Bill Belichick has been watching that kid since he was playing in high school. I knew he wanted him, and I think that's going to be a great addition to their team.
Let me get my 2 cents worth in. They shored up the offensive line best they could. They picked up 2 quality tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter.
Yeah, and they got Jonnu Smith. See, I like that too.
And so you got 2 quality tight ends, and you got Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar, and those are 2 wide receivers that are sneaky good.
Yeah, so, I mean, I would never said that before this year because, he played for the Raiders, but that boy is talented and he's really fast.
He was really good in Philadelphia.
But they re-signed James White, their running back. He's already been there, and everyone's excited about it in the Patriots fan base. So, that's good. He had issues because his parents or one of his parents passed away last year and stuff. But I think he's going to be good now. They re-signed Nick Folk, which I feel like is irrelevant because a kicker to the Patriots is just like a candy bar. They eat it and it's gone, and then they go get another one. Like the Patriots go through kickers faster than anybody. He missed 1 field goal, and they have a new kicker the next week. So, but they did get the defensive tackle, Montravius Adams and Lawrence Guy, and I think those are solid to put on your D line. And they picked up 2 of, in my opinion, some of the better linebackers in the league, Kyle Van Noy, which I cannot believe Miami let him go, and Matthew Judon, which is, I just feel like their defense is going to be awesome this year.
So look at what they shored up. They did exactly what I wanted Cincinnati to do. They shored up the middle of the field. They got beat in the middle of the field. And they made upgrades on almost every offensive position to help Cam Newton out. I think that their moves are really solid.
Oh, I'm just so excited to watch that division this year. I mean, whether Miami keeps Tua, gets another quarterback, or whatever they decide to do with him, like they never even signed another one, so they don't have a backup yet because Ryan Fitzpatrick being gone. But the Jets will always be the Jets. But if they make the right moves between now and during and after the draft, they could be competitive in that division. I think the Patriots are going to be competitive this year. I still say Buffalo takes the division, and depending on the quarterback situation, I think Miami is going to be a close front runner for that division as well. I think all 3 teams could make the playoffs. I don't think the Patriots will if the Dolphins do. So I feel like if 2 teams make it, it's going to be Buffalo and one or the other, and it's going to come down to close.
I really feel like that New England they're at least a 10-win team. But, the only thing is about good players like that haven't played together, he's got to get them to mesh. He's got to get everybody to buy in and play well. And that might take a little time. So I don't think they're going to
I just think this is going to be for 20 years, it was Tom Brady's division. It was his division. There was no competition. I mean, they had they had competition within the division because all divisional games. Like, look at Cincinnati. They didn't even have Joe Burrow last year, and they beat the Steelers, which was awesome. But, they always have competition within the division. But now I think all of those teams will be able to compete.
What's up, bro?
I don't know. I think that's a good division to watch this year.
Heck yeah. JP Lawns and More is in here. Has a great stream on Saturday nights at JP's bar. It's a lot of fun. I've only been in a couple of them, but he's fun to be around. What a great guy to talk to. He puts on a show. I dig it. Thanks for stopping by,
Also,
JP.
I appreciate all of the metal detectors that are over here. And Scuba Sonia, your channel is awesome, and I haven't watched it yet. Well, maybe I just think you're awesome, but I'll probably think your channel is awesome too. You swim with sharks.
Oh yeah, JP. We already been through that. We did not really give
We
the
didn't
Carolina
even mention
Panthers.
the Panthers.
Well, we talked about the other two teams in that division, and we just didn't feel there was much to talk about in free agency.
I mean, they got rid of their wide receiver that went to Washington, Curtis Samuel, but they still have a couple good receivers on their list. I don't think Teddy will be their starter. I heard rumors that in the mock draft, they're gonna that's literally what I said. I said the same thing in Dad's stream. I was like, I just want to swim with sharks. Our logo is sharks. I chose that because I freaking love sharks. I love dolphins. I love the water. And so when Sonia came on my dad's show, I was super hyped because I don't know anything about metal detecting. But I saw that they thought might draft Trey Lance if he's still there at number 8.
Yeah, I you know what? Carolina is a team that I never disliked that team. I've always liked them. And I kind of feel the same way about Atlanta. Yeah,
I'm
I know.
cooler than you.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Sonia. Appreciate that. But
I also appreciate that.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, they do need help on defense. I'll swing over there real fast.
I just think Carolina's a disaster team right now, and I hate to say that, but I think they might be the team with the number 1 pick next year.
They
I
don't
think
they
they'll be in
don't
the
have very
top
much
3.
they don't have much direction right now.
They're seriously all scattered out. I feel like they're like the Jaguars last year.
Yeah, I mean they really. I just can't see anything good with what they did in free agency. I mean it doesn't. I
I
don't.
feel like they didn't do anything. They just got rid of a couple people and they kept Teddy, which I feel like I
They
don't think
just
he'll be a
signed
starter.
basically whatever they signed from elsewhere was basically no better than what they had, and they may have lost more talent. I think you're right. I'm sorry, JP, but I feel like that might be unless they draft extremely well and play well. It might be our first pick next year at the draft.
Teddy was stupid. I liked Teddy when he played 5 or 8 games with the Saints the other couple years ago. He looked good there, but I think that was Sean Payton. I don't think that was I think that was the team they had. It had nothing to do with him. Not that he's bad, but he's just not good in Carolina, and I'm really upset about that because coming into this season, I was really excited to watch him be a starter because I had so much fun watching him in New Orleans.
Miami Dolphins.
Oh, I mean, I already touched on that when I was talking about just the AFC East and being competitive. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Tua. They need to figure out, they have the number 6 pick and another first round pick. They still could go after another quarterback. They still could trade Tua. Yeah, for all we know, Tua could end up in Carolina. They didn't get rid of too much. I have not seen anything, but I think they might still have Xavier Howard, which I had mentioned in the Deshaun Watson video about him being in a trade package because it would free up $6 to $9 million of cap space for them. But Brian Flores is not the best coach, but he was with Bill Belichick and he was with the dude in Houston. But Brian Flores has done a great job of building that team's defense. They were easily, they were the best special teams in the league last year and a top 5 defense last year. Defense wins championships. And, if they can get their offense sorted out, they didn't lose too much. They still got Mike Gesicki, and I still think he is a top 5 tight end. I love him. I can't even remember all of their wide receivers' names at the moment, but I do like that team and what they have. I don't know how much they've lost, but I think they can only improve with the number of draft picks they have in the next 3 years.
I don't know that I was really that satisfied with the Will Fuller pickup. I don't know how
That
he's.
kid just keeps getting thrown around. I don't think he's a good third slot receiver.
Yep, that's exactly what we said when they traded him. He was the number 3.
Which I think number threes are just as important as number ones.
I agree.
But, it's so easy to get 4 number 3 receivers and not have a number 1.
What did you think about Buffalo's additions and subtractions in free agency?
They got you said Mackenzie Alexander earlier, and it was Isaiah McKenzie. They signed him. I don't think there was a lot wrong with that Buffalo team. Like,
No, I agree.
it's so hard to say, oh, they should have gotten rid of someone, or oh, they should pick up these people, because they're already there. They just need to maintain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Matt Milano got a nice contract.
I like Matt Milano, and the thing I like about Buffalo is they have a top tier defense that has no top tier names. Like, no one knows who's on their defense, but they're good.
Yeah, they were fine. Yeah, I mean, I think they didn't necessarily, putting Trubisky as the backup. That's about where he belongs as a backup. So
I mean, I think it'll be a great learning year for him. If he has any potential in this league, he's gonna earn it and learn it all this season, sitting behind Josh Allen, sitting with their coach. I can't remember his name right now. It just slipped right out of my brain. But Sean McDermott, sitting under the team they have, the quarterback they have, and the coach they have. Even if he never touches, I mean, he might play the 17th game once they lock up a playoff spot or something. 16th or 17th, because there's an extra one, so they might play 2 games actually if they have locked that in soon enough. But I think if there is any hopes for Mitch Trubisky to ever be a starter again, it's gonna come after this year. I think he will learn a lot, and if he doesn't, we won't see much more of him other than being a backup.
Will Tyrod Taylor be the starter in Houston?
Probably. I mean, let's be real here. No one knows what's true and what's not true about Deshaun Watson. I think it's all bullshit. I'm going to keep saying that. I think it's stupid. I think this was a Houston ploy that's backfiring, because now there's 2, 3, 4 teams that are we'll give up everything to take him off your hands. And they're not budging. I think they're digging themselves into a hole. They're going to keep him. He's going to sit, and Tyrod Taylor will be their starter, because Deshaun Watson is, when this comes out, if it is true, then I will eat what I just said. And I'm sorry to the women involved. I will eat that, and I'm sorry. But I don't think it's true. And so when this all comes out, if it is not true, everything, he's going to find out that it's Houston, and then he's going to be even more mad than he is now. I think he's a good dude.
So Houston at the same time made a whole gigantic wholesale of low-end signings. They signed a lot of just team-friendly deals. They didn't give up a lot in free agency, but they signed a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah. They've been signing people. I feel like every other day they have a new signing that it's kind of sweeping it under the rug. Without anyone noticing, we're grabbing all these pieces.
Do you think they're sitting at the bottom of the barrel when we talk about at the end of this next season?
I mean, I think the only team they might do better than is Jacksonville. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we can go there next.
2 years ago, they were Super Bowl contenders, and I don't even think Houston will be a team in the next 5 years.
At the rate they're going, it doesn't look promising. Jacksonville, I feel the same way about a lot of low end signings. Nothing that really.
I think they're in rebuild.
Yeah, I think they got a couple role players in there. And let's give a shout out to where one's due. Carlos Hyde. I don't know how many years he's been in the NFL, but that guy is a workhorse, and he brings something good to every team that he goes to. And congratulations on getting 2 more years in a contract, $6 million. I think that's fantastic. I think he is a good role player, and I think he will do well with that team. Uh, that's a win sign. Beyond that, I still like Marvin Jones, but he's not that great a receiver. That's why he's bounced around since he left Cincinnati.
I'd say he could be a solid number 2.
Yeah, he should be a solid number 2. Philip Dorsett, I'm on the fence.
Oh yeah, that was a Houston signing. They signed Philip Lindsay. I don't know if you caught that one or not. I was sitting here the whole time just trying to remember his name.
Yeah, they signed a couple running backs. Where did they go? Dun, 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 dun. Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram. That's the other one. I mean, they just signed a ton of players on the low end of the spectrum. Alex Erickson was the slot receiver from Cincinnati. He ended up in Houston. They really could have used him last year because they needed help in the slot in a bad way. He'll catch balls, and he's a good route runner, but he's not a great receiver. But yeah, there's just a lot of low-end deals that just doesn't do anything for me. The Indianapolis Colts, I don't know if Mark's still here, but re-signing T.Y. Hilton, great. That I think they did right. They give him 1 year. Marty, thank you for coming in. Have fun with Andy Dalton this year. I hope you guys win 10 games.
Good luck, buddy. You have a good defense. You always had a good defense.
Yeah, and Xavier Rhodes, I like him.
Yeah, he came from Miami.
And I like Marlon Mack. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Carson Wentz is garbage. I know that the reports right now are that he's doing well in Indy, but he's garbage. I think he's cancer for the locker room. I think he's going to go in there. He's going to mind his P's and Q's until one thing goes wrong. And once that one thing goes wrong, it's going to be a downhill slide, and he's going to take the whole team with him unless they're smart and they kick him to the curb.
Oh man, I think so they still got a good deal on him. If he does really bad, they didn't lose anything. If he does really good, they lost a first-round pick. So I think it was smart on Indy's side of things with Brissett being a free agent, not knowing if they were going to keep him, which they did not. They still needed a quarterback. They didn't do bad enough to get a good enough draft pick unless they wanted to trade up for it, and they've made no interest in doing so. And now they signed him, so really they had no interest in doing so. But I think he will do okay there. Like, I hate him. He's a crybaby. He is not a leader. I don't care what Mark says. He can come fight me. But he's not a leader. He's a whiny little spoiled brat, basically, just because he had one good year. And I think the Colts will win their division, but not because of him. I think they'll win their division because of great defense and a solid run game behind a really good offensive line.
I disagree completely. I don't think they win their division. I think Tennessee dominates it.
I hate Tennessee. Tennessee's...
I don't like saying it any more than you like hearing it.
Listen, the only player on their team that is good is their running back. One guy. They have one good wide receiver, but he's not the best in the league or anything. Ryan Tannehill is literally Buzz Lightyear.
I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I just think that they're the best coached. I guess that's marginal between them and the Colts. But I think the addition of Bud Dupree in the middle of the field is
but we haven't seen Bud Dupree yet. Is he good? Is he bad? He's coming off that major injury off of surgery.
I don't think
you don't know. He could re-injure that in the first game.
I think that they're confident enough in his health if they give him a 5-year contract with $35 million guaranteed and worth up to $85 million. Okay, Sonia, you just keep on going. Anyway, to give him that much, then the physical had to be good. The workouts had to be good.
But this was like a right before the playoffs season-ending injury. Like he's probably not that close to being ready yet. It happened in like the 15th game, 16th game. It's not like Joe Burrow in the middle of the season. He's going to be ready by preseason or by week 1.
Yeah, I think that he's a game-changing linebacker, though. And just say he's not ready to go at the beginning of the season, he's that type of guy. I think he's that type of playmaker. Thanks, Rob. But
Rob's a real one.
I still say that they outclassed the Colts, and
they outclassed the Colts this year, and they squeaked right past them. They barely got past the Colts this year.
And the
Colts had Phillip Rivers.
I would rather have Phillip Rivers than Carson Wentz.
Well, I would rather have Phillip Rivers than Carson Wentz. I was kind of sad he retired. I wish he would have signed one more year there. But Carson Wentz can move a little bit more than Phillip Rivers can.
Phillip Rivers makes better decisions.
Yeah, he does. And I know that. But he's thrown –
Oh, now you freeze.
I cut out for a second, but whatever. I don't know what you heard last, but he averages as many interceptions a year as Carson Wentz does.
Phillip Rivers?
Yes. And Carson Wentz gets hit a lot more than Phillip Rivers does, but now he's going to be behind freaking Quentin Nelson, the best offensive tackle in the league.
So he has no excuse to lose, but yet you don't think that –
Look, he's not going to the Super Bowl, and he's not going to be the MVP, but that doesn't mean he can't win his division. He has no reason not to. They have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 great running backs. They just got T.Y. Hilton, who ignored all the money that was being thrown at him to stay there. So they have a good receiver, and they've got a lot of young receivers, too, that are surrounding him that have talent, that can catch balls, that can make yards after the catch. They have good tight ends. They have a good team. They are a Super Bowl contender team. I know that this is going to be just like the Tampa Bay statement, with Jameis Winston versus Tom Brady. Jameis Winston couldn't get him to the Super Bowl, but the same team, with a small couple additions, got them to the Super Bowl. Well, that's Tom Brady. Look, I don't care what anybody says. Tom Brady always gets his way, whether he's good or not. That's just what happens. Let's just be real. But I still think they're going to win the division.
You know what? Of all the things that we could have argued about today and agreed and disagreed upon, this is where we end up arguing.
Listen, I was saying this the last time when we were telling Mark Carson Wentz was a bum. Carson Wentz is a bum. Yeah, but they could bench him halfway through the season and put someone else in there. We don't know, but either way, they have the team to win.
Okay, bum.
Your dog is a bum.
Yep, and so guess what you get to do?
I am getting heated because you are just literally the last stream, and I will pull it up right now and show it. You literally agreed with me. You change your opinion every single day. I stand by mine.
I've just watched the stuff with Indy Sports and just listening to what everybody thinks and says up there in Indy tied to the staff, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Carson Wentz is so good."
No, I get that, but they're just
blowing the expectations up, and I don't think he's going to perform. He can't win in the NFC East.
Yes, but there was a lot of things that came into that. Other than the fact he was bad, he had a bad team, and he had a coach that he wouldn't even speak to.
He's a
And
crybaby.
the only reason it was because they drafted a quarterback, and then he was like, just told his coach, he was like, I'm not going to talk to you. And for 6 weeks of the whole season, they were not in contact. They did not say one word to each other. You can't win a game if your quarterback and head coach won't speak to each other.
I just truly think that he's a cancer, and if one thing goes wrong, their season's fucked.
Like, did you see the last game of the year, the Eagles game, where they literally obviously tanked so the Giants wouldn't get a better draft pick or whatever it was? Literally, that team is cancer. Everything about Philadelphia is cancer.
But
I don't care what happened in the past. Literally, they won a Super Bowl, but not because of Carson Wentz. They won a Super Bowl because he got hurt. But he got them to the playoffs, and all of his coaching staff is there in Indianapolis. But now they have a better team than he had in Philadelphia. So, yes, they will get to the playoffs, but unless Carson Wentz gets hurt in the playoffs and someone else shows up, they just sign Nick Foles, they're not getting to the Super Bowl.
I'm with you for the most part. I just think that Tennessee, albeit they're not great, they're going to be more consistent because Carson Wentz has never been consistent. And that's, he can go out and beat anybody on a given Sunday, and then he can come back the next week and he might lose to the worst team in the league.
You just described Phillip Rivers' career.
Yeah, you're right. And
look what they did. They made it to the playoffs, and then they played probably the best team at the time in the playoffs in the first round and lost. Like, that's literally what's going to happen to them again this year. But you're like, they were only right behind Tennessee. Like, seriously, right behind them. They lost to them in the last game of the season, and that's the only reason they weren't the number one seed number one in their division.
I know these are two teams that are fairly evenly matched. Yes,
but if you take Derrick Henry away from Tennessee, they can't do anything. Any game that he's rushed for less than 150 yards last year, they lost. And they have the defensive line to stop him. I know it's a divisional game when they play each other, but people know that, and people have stopped him. The Chiefs kept him to like 60 yards that game they played them. Like, Derrick Henry gets stopped, their team gets stopped. They don't win the game.
And you know what? I'm just.
This isn't even me fighting for the Colts. This is me fighting against Tennessee. I just have to act like I love the Colts more than anything in the world to get that point across.
Right. I know. I see where you're going, and I don't necessarily completely disagree with that.
Yes, because in a week when we do this again, you're going to change your mind.
And it all depends on how these teams practice and how things go into after the draft. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that change, but I just think that, and I hope that he doesn't make it there, but I just think they need a better leader than Carson Wentz. Mm. Truthfully, Phillip Rivers was a leader. Carson Wentz is a fucking garbage troll.
And Carson Wentz can get them to the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
No further, but he can get them there. And that is the whole point of this. If you win your division,
he's only put together one complete season that was worth a shit.
Yeah, I know. And he didn't even finish the season.
And then, and Nick Foles, who's, nobody's really talking about that guy. That guy's done a yeoman's job as a backup. He's always a team player. He comes in and he finds ways to get his team fired up and wins. Loki, you don't want to eat the microphone. But
yes, he does.
I know. He thinks I'm upset. That's what he's doing.
Him's a good boy.
I know. But yeah, you know what the thing of it is that it's still at the end of the day, and you know what, Rob, just so you know that we can do this all day long because here's the thing: at the end of the day, neither one of us knows how to quit.
Oh, I won't stop.
See, yeah, that's just it. We'll it'll be 6 in the morning and we'll be still sitting here arguing about this deal. I know that I just feel bad that I just feel bad that you know what? I know you don't like Tennessee. I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I think Derrick Henry is a great back. But at the end of the day, I just think that overall they're in a better position as a team than the Colts are with Carson Wentz.
Ryan Tannehill is Buzz Lightyear, and Carson Wentz is freaking that trash can dude from Elmo.
Yeah, Shelby, and she absolutely got it for me. And you know what? I love the fact because it makes it fun. And I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to let this dog outside, and then and I'm going to give you 20 seconds to calm down. Talk about the like and the subscribe thing, and then I'll be right back.
He just told me to calm down. Oh man, I was hoping you'd show up, Matt. Well, not everybody can be Mark Ogburn and wake up every day. And what does he say? I don't know what it's like to wake up every day and be wrong. Well, that is literally him. Also, yeah, I'll never stop. He knows it too. He tells me to calm down, and I feel like that's just gonna make it worse. He thinks he's funny. Like it's just because we're online. If I got mad and we were together, he would get so mad and walk away.
It's true.
He's lucky I'm just not actually mad.
Hold on.
Oh, and to Rob's comment just right here. So I, have never been a Bucks fan, but will you stop? I have never been a Bucks fan in my life. Do not like the NFC. I am 100% an AFC fan. I mean, the Patriots are there, and other than that, I hate the Patriots. But from an outsider's perspective, someone who tries to keep up with the NFC, just enough knowledge to get by, I still think that the Bucks had a Super Bowl contending team with Winston. I know a lot of Bucks fans didn't see that just because I feel like if you were a lifelong Bucks fan, you couldn't see that just because of the last however many years. But like I said, from an outsider's perspective, I think they had a quality team. They could have, done it. They just needed less turnovers. I think if instead of going 30 for 30, if he went 30 for 15, they would have went deep in the playoffs. And then, okay, so back to Mark. About Mark. The Cubs did lose today, and I forgot, but when I watched it happen, I was ready to talk about it because I was hoping he'd be here. But when he was in here, he specifically said, he was like, they're going to win their division or whatever because he said the Pirates were trash and he had no competition. And they lost to the Pirates. Yeah, and also the Dallas Cowboys are not America's team. It's not like the 70s or 80s whenever they had that stud of a team.
God, just imagine how miserable that was to watch. Dallas and Pittsburgh.
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't know how much baseball anybody watched today, but this Royals game was the longest baseball game I've ever watched in my entire life. They were in the first inning for over an hour. But they had this comeback win that was nuts. They were down like 8-1, 8-2 in the fourth, and they finished winning like, I don't even know, 12-8 or something. There was just like no good pitching in the first 3 innings, which took 2 hours today. Oh well, yeah, Amanda probably saw it, but it was literally the longest opening day game I have ever seen. I could not sit through like every baseball game ever if it was as long as that one was because it was horrible. The Reds got their ass kicked, but I wake up every day during baseball season and I'm already prepared for that. Yeah, I could sit through a baseball game if I were there, but there was not much on TV. I watched baseball until the Nets played today, and then I even turned that off because it was horrible. They played Charlotte.
Freezing. You're back.
Okay, sorry, my internet just stops every once in a while, but the Nets game was awful to watch too. It was just complete domination. I think the Charlotte scored 9 points in the first quarter. It was like 9-32. And so I just turned it off too and started playing video games because I was done with sports today. I was just waiting to talk about some football.
Do you agree that Kansas City looked like the only team in the AFC West that actually cared about free agency?
Yep. Well, the Raiders are stupid. The Raiders are literally stupid. John Gruden. Is it John or Josh? It's
John.
John. John Gruden's an idiot. And Derek Carr is not their answer. I would start Marcus Mariota over Derek Carr any day of the week.
Absolutely.
They thought signing Kenyon Drake was going to be their answer. They got rid of Nelson Aguilar to the Patriots.
For John Brown, basically.
Yeah, literally, they're trash. I love Justin Herbert. I can't be a Chargers fan, but I do love Justin Herbert. I love the team they have. If they can all stay healthy this year, I think they're actually going to be competition for, Kansas City. Every game Kansas City plays that's divisional, they don't even look like they just won a Super Bowl and went to a second one. Like every single divisional game is horrible and so hard to watch. But that's what I like about divisional games. The Broncos, I'm not worried about them this year. I'm less worried about them than any team in the division, even though I think they might do better than the Raiders this year. But I think the only competition in that, I know you asked me about free agency, but I still think the only competition in that division is going to be the Chargers. But they have a new head coach, so you don't know how that's going to go either.
Yeah, I looked at that whole division and I sat there and I went through it. And the only thing that made sense was the Chiefs got better and everybody else got worse. I really don't see anything in there. Yeah, no doubt. The Raiders have got a pretty. You know what? That's the thing.
So does the Chargers, though. They both got new stadiums, like the Chargers Rams. I want to go to both of them.
Oh, for sure. I just don't. I don't see anything in that division that makes me think that there's anybody that can do anything with Kansas City.
No,
not at all.
I just talking about stadiums. I just have to get this off my chest. Going to Arrowhead Stadium for a playoff football game, it will probably be the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like nothing, I don't think anything can compare to that other than the fact I had 2 hours of sleep right before we got there. I love that stadium, and even with restricted only 12,000 fans, it was seriously the greatest experience of my entire life.
Yeah, imagine what that place would be like full.
Oh my God, I can't. And oh man, that was another thing. Roger Goodell said we're having full stadiums this year, all stadiums. That's incredible.
Did you ever see the details for the Daniel Sorensen for re-signing him?
Yeah, I'm actually might have it wrote down because I did all my notes, but I did the Chiefs first, and this whole right here is just Chiefs. I wrote down everything so I could talk to it. Oh, Matt. I am so jacked to go to that Louisville FC Stadium, Lynn Stadium. We drive past it every time we go through Louisville. It looks beautiful. I've seen the 3D. It's going to be beautiful. And I'm so excited for some Louisville soccer. Oh, let's see. Where's Dan Sorensen? I did write it down. Oh, no, I just wrote that they re-signed him. I think it was just a 1-year deal.
You know,
Fingers crossed, Amanda. Fingers crossed. Also, I'm buying a bunch of tickets to the Kansas City Cincinnati Bengals game. So if anyone wants to go with us and you can just buy a ticket off of me, I'm going. There's no way in hell that I'm not going. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes in the same building. It's going to be awesome. I don't care what anybody says. And they're coming here. So
while you're hunting down your numbers,
I wasn't looking, but I will real quick.
yeah, I mean, and that's all well and good. The thing is that they did re-sign him. I was just not curious. I didn't know the details of the contract that he got.
1 year, $2.4 million, including 137,000 signing bonus. All is guaranteed.
That's a flipping steal.
Yeah, dude. Dirty Dan. See, okay, this is the thing. With Daniel Sorensen, he's not a key. Every play, every drive, like he's not a key piece. But I feel like he's like their defensive closer. He closes out games. Like almost half of the games last year the Chiefs played that were remotely close ended in a Daniel Sorensen interception. So like he steps up when it needs to be.
Yeah, I like the guy. I think he's I think he's a solid role player on that defense. You know, and then but going from there. Oh, what's that?
Easier with the
F-150. Get your computer under control.
I know, right? God, it scared me. Jaron Reed, how did you feel about that?
Jaron Reed and Chris Jones on the same line is gonna fuck shit up.
And then you know what? And I didn't even realize. But do you like Taco Charlton?
I love Taco. What do you mean?
So
I'm so hyped about that defense. They got Dirty Dan, they got Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, they got Sack Nation Chris Jones. They just added Jaron Reed. They are a workhorse defense. They went from a bottom 10 to a top 10 easy.
Demarcus Robinson.
I love him and Byron Pringle. They're two, like 3-slot, 4-slot receiver. They're both underrated. One of them is a return man, usually, but they still have Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill with Demarcus and Byron. I think those are 4 good receivers. You know, like, so week 17, most of their starters didn't play and they lost to the Chargers, which is fine. I don't care. They locked up the first seed, whatever, but it got a chance for people to actually see those guys, you know, not surrounded by Travis Kelce and Tyreek and Sammy, even though he had been injured at the time, of course. But, you know, those guys have so much potential. I think in two years tops, Byron Pringle is going to be a stud.
Joe Thuney.
Joe Thuney, everyone says they overpaid for that man, but I do not think, I disagree completely. You know, if you're going to put a lot of money into someone, put in a lot of money in someone that you paid a lot of, or that you need to protect someone you also paid a lot of money to, your franchise quarterback. If you are going to give a deal like that to somebody, you need to pay men to protect him. And that's what they did. Joe Thuney, that Logan Taylor, the dude that came out of retirement, he played for the Bears. What's his name?
Is that Rimmers?
Kyle Long, sorry. That's his name. I don't know where I got Logan. Kyle Long, he's going to be good. They have Mike Rimmers and what's the other dude's name? There was one other guy they signed.
For offense?
Yeah, I thought. It might have been someone already on the roster. They just re-signed him. Other than Mike Rimmers.
Tajay Sharp for wide receiver and Blake Bell as a tight end.
Plus, they got their guy that opted out last year, Yarniv. I can't say his last name. It's hyphenated. Some Tardif. Duvernay Tardif.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that guy. And then they got the guy that they got in the draft last year. They have bulked it up. They have a bunch of tight ends. Like they have Blake Bell, who's already played there. They got another tight end. They have Travis Kelce. They've got Tyreek. They've got Mecole Hardman. They have Pringle, DeMarcus. I feel like they have an elite offense. And Duvernay Tardif, that's his name. And they have an elite defense now. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I will not be surprised if they three-peat in the Super Bowl.
So
I'm not saying I think they're going to the Super Bowl.
Pre-draft,
I think it's possible that they could be.
Pre-draft, seeing what you've seen in free agency going forward, starting with the AFC,
That's who it is.
Starting third.
There it is. They just got him from the Rams.
What are the after free agency so far? What are the three teams that stand out in the AFC as top contenders to win?
Oh, I have to say Kansas City because
I think they're at the top of the heap. I don't think anybody's come close to knocking them off of that.
So excluding them, top three.
Well, I'm not excluding them. I think they should be in the top three, but I only think there's only maybe two other teams that are worth mentioning.
Buffalo. Maybe Cleveland, but I would say top five, if anything, not top three.
I think Cleveland and New England's a toss-up for third right now.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be Miami. It's not going to be the AFC South or whatever division the Colts are in.
It's got to be. It's got to be those three. Maybe four. If you add one more team in there, New England and Cleveland, I think, are about at the same. I think Buffalo's still ahead above most everybody in Kansas City.
I think it might be a repeat of the AFC Championship this year.
Yeah, that's fair. NFC after free agency, rank your.
I have to say the Buccaneers. I don't want to, but I have to. Just Great. Because, what do you compare them to? They didn't make any changes. They have all the same guys. So I'm going to say, the Buccaneers as number one. I'm putting the Rams there. I'm going to put the Cardinals there. I would say Green Bay is 5 or 6. Like, they're not top 5 really, like 5 or 6-ish.
I'm not sure. I still think Green Bay is top 4.
I'd say top 5. I wouldn't say top 4.
Who would you put above them after the 3 that you mentioned?
I mean, New Orleans still can compete. They still have a good team. I'm just like Drew Blank. I know this is going to sound literally insane, but I have Washington up really high.
To get the fuck out of Houston?
And probably, yeah. I mean, that defensive line now in Arizona was already crazy. Now I think it's crazy with J.J. Watt. Because J.J. Watt is, getting up there. It's just like, he's not as good as he used to be, but him next to Chandler Jones is pretty nice.
Did Alex Smith retire?
He hasn't said yet. He wants to play. He's not with Washington. They cut him.
Right on, Rob. I agree.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's friends with Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, and so he was trying to get Kawhi to come to Arizona and play before the. I froze for a second. Hello? I can't hear you.
I muted my mic because I was hacking.
Oh, Rona boy.
Yep, that's what it is.
It's because you're getting that shot, so your immune system's shutting down because you're scared.
Yeah, I don't want to get a shot, but I'll be glad to be over it.
Yeah, I think AJ Green will have a good year.
The list and I feel like in the NFC, Arizona might have done the best through free agency.
I mean, AJ, looked like a trash can with legs this year, but I think, it was the same thing with Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap and all of them. Like, he still has potential left. He was just wasting it in Cincinnati because he was not trying.
Good for you, Rob. I'm really ready to do it and get it over with, though. AJ Green, JJ Watt, Malcolm Butler, Sean Williams.
Legs but no toes.
Huh?
Shelby's comment. I said AJ Green was a walking trash can. Like, he was a trash can with legs, and she said legs but no toes.
Yeah, I'll be glad to get that over with for sure. Well, when the thing of it is that we pushed this almost 2 hours tonight, which I didn't even feel like we had that much to discuss, and it got really fun.
Oh, yeah. You want to drop a link?
Sure. I
can drop it.
See who gets it out there first.
Well, my computer's slow, so probably you.
I don't know who won because we're both typing on the same link. So
right. If anyone wants to come hang out and tell me why Dad is wrong, go ahead.
Yeah, it's time to start getting some of these final thoughts and maybe get somebody. I mean, you know what? They're all going to take your side because that's just the way that it works. I hate feeling like the bad guy. Your side because
yeah.
Just the way that it works. All right, Shelby Lynn.
Bloop. Hey.
Birthday's officially over. How's that?
I know. It doesn't feel any different.
Okay, come on. Who had the better opinion today, me or Alex, on this Colts thing?
On the Colts thing, I don't know. I mean, you both made good points, but I just don't like Carson Wentz, and that's my problem.
I hate Carson Wentz. He's a bum.
I think her point is that our reasons for thinking the way that we think is valid. And
have a good night, Rob.
Later, Rob. And I think that it's all valid on both ends. Where'd she go? Later, Rob. And then, but it's still it's trash. On both ends.
Someone's
and
then, needs headphones.
Go ahead and mute your YouTube video, Amanda.
Hang on, I got you. I'll mute you.
Wow. Till she gets it muted. Once she gets it muted, she's good.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she got it.
Yeah, I did.
I was like,
My bad.
I was hearing loops in my ears, both sides.
It's like when I joined that first stream.
Yeah, I just did not realize what I did or what I didn't do because, dang it. No, not that. I got the wrong background up.
Okay. I was going to put it that one so our Scuba Sonia could see how cool it is.
Yeah, well, hold on. Well,
sorry, my cat kind of wants to join the.
Is that Sammy?
Yup. How can you tell?
Yeah, Dad, you're 3v1 now.
Who?
You.
Heck yeah!
Dude,
I'll tell you what's
live.
I'll tell you what's amazing as when I was growing up, or especially when I was even your guys' age, I didn't have women to talk sports with. It just was unheard of. And now it's a lot of valid super opinions, and it's fun because they like to argue as much as I do.
I definitely will argue sports all day long. And I mean, it also helps working in the sports book too. So, you know,
Wait, hang on.
I end up surprising like a lot of people because, oh, you got one.
Sponsored by
Like-
FanDuel. We're not actually sponsored. Don't come after us.
Yeah, right.
We just work with them.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I surprise so many people all the time with like just my basic knowledge.
Yeah,
And, like Alex, you and I have talked about, you know, like I'm slowly getting into like basketball and learning all about that, but you know,
Right.
I'd rather talk football all day long.
Also, Sonia, I am a fan of you.
Sonia's the best. I don't even know her, but she's the best.
You're gonna have to go and rewatch my dad's stream from tonight, and check her out because she was on there. She's awesome. I did not know her until tonight, but she's been my dad. Out of all my dad's guests, other than Nick, of course, she's been my favorite.
Nice catch, Alex. Sammy, get
Well, Nick's a
Ouch.
co-host, so he's there every night or every stream. So he doesn't really count, but you know, I can't be like, I like everyone better than Nick, but I love Nick. But Sonia's awesome, and both of you guys should watch my dad's stream because he interviews her, and you can get to know her and what her channel's about and stuff.
Cool.
She's freaking awesome.
I saw something about like swimming with sharks. Like what? That just scares the crap out of me, honestly. Hello. Like Shark Week.
Also, Matt, yeah, I forgot that you were in my dad's stream. That was who that is, yes. Matt almost won the horse race. I was pulling for him.
I'm bummed I missed it, but I got home just in time to start watching this one, so.
Same.
So straight up tonight, Sonia, that was probably by far the best opening night for one of my streams. It done better than any other one that I had, even my giveaway stream where we did those horse races all night. I want to say thank you again.
Don't worry,
wonderful.
I already did some promotion for her and for you. I already got that covered while you were taking a snack break.
Dude, we had a blast.
I had so
Also-
much fun.
Are those shark socks, Shelby?
Absolutely. And Shane got these for me.
Right on.
Shane and Jean got these for me.
Well,
that was
now I know what to get you for Christmas. Anything shark.
We love
yeah.
sharks in this family.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Noted. I know what to get you guys for Christmas now.
Yeah, we were making this channel, and Dad's like, "What do we use as a logo?" And I said, "I don't care what it is, just put a shark on it." That's literally what I said.
That logo redesign looks pretty nice.
Heck
Shout
yeah,
out
you
to,
figured it
Like
out.
a bull.
Oh, okay. So
Bloody
I'll do
shark.
some more. I'll do some more promotion real quick. Shelby is a photographer, and back on the shark theme, her photography page is literally called Snap Shark Photography. So
It all makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
we're all
Oh, she froze again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been doing that a little bit tonight.
Our Wi-Fi is
you
just
know,
garbage.
Mine is too. Don't feel bad.
But
Well.
you know what? When we get our house, and we're just gonna invest in Elon Musk's Starlink internet, so I don't ever have to worry about it again.
Keycat.
Oh, there's my assy boy.
So,
He wants no part of it.
yeah, Sammy like went doot, 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 and went away.
Oh, this is So Ash was laying in his bed next to me, cuddling with his
Oh,
shark.
there's his little toy that he cuddles with. I told you this is a just shark loving environment.
Oh,
Yeah, well, this is the nerd loving environment over here.
Hang on, I got an even better one than the cat's toy.
Oh God.
What's better than a demon cat?
Here's my
Oh, Jake.
this is Jake. He is my best friend.
Yeah, that's okay. Like,
I got nothing. We went from football and sports talk to kitty cats and stuffed animals. What happened?
We were talking about sharks, Dad. It's not a phase.
and Alex, I've had this stuffed kitty cat since I was like 7 or 8. I'm 29 now, and I still have her.
I know. I don't know what happened, Matt, but I think my man
It's right
card
there.
just flew out the window.
You're acting like you had a man card to lose.
Oh, it can't be too loud. The baby's asleep.
Okay, fine, whatever. I give up.
All right, let's talk sports ball.
Sports ball.
Wait, you brought a dog in, so what's that? How's that any different?
He's a manly dog.
Does that mean our dogs are manly dogs?
Yes, they are man-sized dogs.
They weigh 10 pounds less than I do.
A piece.
Each. Yeah, each.
They are getting so freaking big.
We love that.
Philip still won't let me get a puppy.
Sonia, what kind of dog do you have?
Matt, I think that Philadelphia recently announced that they were unsure about Jalen Hurts, which I don't really understand because he played well in the shitty situation he was thrown into. And I think, Joe Flacco peaked in Baltimore, but I still like him as a quarterback. I respect him for going to the Jets and playing while Sam Darnold was out, even though the Jets, no one should like the Jets. But I think they're both going to get playing time this year. I don't know who's going to play more, or if, Joe Flacco did come off an injury in Denver. I don't know how, I lost track of him after that, so I don't know if he will, if he's fully recovered because he's getting a little bit up there in age, but I think he will. I think it's going to be a dual quarterback situation until they get their shit straightened out.
I really believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter. I believe Joe Flacco is going to be there to guide him. And I'm not so certain that they don't pick up another quarterback at some point.
Well, they were one of the few teams that were like, I don't care what Deshaun Watson did. We'll give you everything for him.
Oh, because
they were actually the first team to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know that Jalen Hurts is going to be the answer there, but absolutely is. I really think that he just deserves the opportunity. And I think there's nobody better as a backup quarterback than Joe Flacco to guide him and teach him the way to win. Because for the most part, Joe Flacco was highly successful in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being following that division for my entire life, you spend a lot of time watching all of them. I watch all of their games. He's good. He went to the Super Bowl. He did everything he did. He did great with the Ravens. He's not the best quarterback in the league, but neither is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is one of those guys that Mark was talking about that's a good leader to have in the locker room.
I was just thinking that.
Not like shady, but
Oh
better.
yeah, Shady's
Let's
useless.
not go down this road, please.
Look, he's not here. We can say whatever we want to about him. He's not going to watch this stream all the way to the end.
Yep.
He doesn't have an attention span that big.
Oh my God. He give me a fucking headache. You know what? The only way I can win the Indianapolis Colts and fucking Tennessee Titan argument is if Mark was in here.
Literally, you would not win because you don't agree with him. You would never win because he's worse than me. He will literally never stop.
I know, but I can get you to agree with me at that point.
Oh yeah, because everyone's going to disagree with him. I'll tell you, the Colts will lose every single game if Mark showed up right now.
Yeah,
After I just literally was yelling at you, fighting for them, I would come in here and I would lie my ass off and tell you they were going 0-16 or sorry 0-17 now.
I still think that they're guaranteed a 10-7 team.
Oh yeah, they're guaranteed 10 wins. It's just gonna come down to, for that division, who beats who more times. So if the Colts win both of those games, they're taking the division. If the Tennessee wins both those games, they're taking the division. If they tie, it's going to be a toss-up between that 17th game this season.
I was going to say, do you think that 17th game will be a good tiebreaker for the season? Because you see a lot of teams that have like the 8
Please. Are you going to come back or not? Ooh.
CenturyLink sucks. Looks like Amanda and Alex are both out.
I'm here.
Oh, you're back.
That thing's just garbage. But anyway, there were so many teams last year, or so many like pairs of teams that it came down to the last game of the season to determine their seeding. So I think this 17th game is gonna, not only put a lot of like a whole game is a lot on, especially like offensive and defensive linemen. But I think it will come down to that game, especially in that division.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, it's going to be that close. I don't think we're going to argue that ever. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. What they do on their head-to-heads will probably determine it.
What did you just say to me?
What?
What did you say?
I said you hit most of that on the head, but
that's not what you said.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not what you said.
It's definitely 17th game and the way that the opponent.
No, Sonia, I'm in a different house than the other two right on the.
So me and Shelby live together, and Amanda lives right across the street. And Dad lives across the river.
And thank goodness I'm about 25 miles away.
With about 10 times better internet.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've got on you today. My internet hasn't failed.
Well, we're working on getting that way.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Oh, you guys are gonna leave me in this crappy little subdivision?
I can't deal with this internet. If we had good internet, I'd probably never leave.
Yeah, I forgot Matt's close.
Oh yeah, Matt lives literally one street over from you.
When he's home.
He's welcome to come over.
I'd hang out with Matt every day.
Yeah, well, thanks, Sonia. I appreciate it.
You'll give her a big ego, Sonia.
That's my girl. Sonia is my girl. I just met this woman today, but I love her.
Oh yeah. I guess that's what I get for blowing her up before her interview even started tonight.
I blew her up in this channel, and nobody here knows what I was talking about. Except for Matt, because he was there. Matt was there.
Yeah, I can tell, man. I feel like I'm the odd man out today.
Oh, like Nick in your stream? You were making him a third wheel?
Yeah, but his mic was not working very well today. It kind of made me uncomfortable. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, we the last time, Sonia, that we got in here and got on this thing, I think we ended up going for like 4.5 hours, and we did nothing but all gang up on one guy.
Oh yeah, there was like a bunch of people up in here all attacking him, and it was so much fun.
Hey, if I would have did what I thought about doing, you would be mad at me. Or you might have even left. So
Yeah,
call
but
it
if
what it
she
is.
would have pulled her April Fool's joke on you, everybody online would have seen you have a mental
Yeah,
breakdown, and that would have been so worth it.
Dude, you go back and watch last week, the first
Oh,
5
I
minutes.
was there. I was there.
I mean, when Pat was like not
I
on.
was literally on your show that week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't talking. I was talking to everybody else. I know you were there. But when Pat wasn't there 5 minutes in, I was losing my shit because, like I said, I've got structure. Oh, my God. Yeah, because well, then you figured me out pretty quick. Oh, my God.
What a
Yeah.
nice person.
Yeah, I probably couldn't have took it today.
Oh man, if it had been me, I would have done it.
Yeah. God.
I'd be watching on my phone too, just watching you freak out, and then I'd be like, ha ha ha.
Who?
What happened?
What?
Sorry, I missed something.
Matt, I think that's what we're going to try to do.
5 hours.
After your stream?
Yep. I'm going to probably a little break and then like at 11 o'clock if we can. And then I really feel like that we're going to start jumping in every so often when we can and just regardless of time, just throwing stuff out there as it happens.
Yeah. If we do it every Thursday, I can actually come up with a formidable plan.
Well, everybody in here needs to start working on a mock draft for sure.
Yeah, can do that.
I'm going to do my best because I change my mind every single day.
That's true.
And everybody on the sport, yeah, like seriously, I watch these mock drafts on TV every single day, and every single day they're different. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a good idea. Well, except for the NFL one I watched the other day, I was like, that was garbage, and none of those things will happen. But other than that one specific one, they'll be like, oh, this person's going to go at number 4. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. They could go at number 4. That's such a good idea. And I'm like, I'm so easily influenced by people with a platform, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you looking at the draft. I mean, if you actually research each team and see what their most dire need is, you can come up with a fairly good analysis to get close. So, but
my one comment to doing research on each team, if we can just talk about Atlanta for a second, I think the only thing they need is to not have to play the last 5 minutes of their game.
They're planning to play in London this year.
Oh yeah, they are. They're taking a game overseas, one of their home games.
Yep. I did see that.
No, Sonia, that's absolutely true. I don't ever see this kind of conversation, especially in the sports world. When me and Alex started putting this thing together, this was one of the reasons that I thought it would do well, because these girls that come in here and comment and talk, they have knowledge, and it's fucking nice. It really is.
I wish I could promote all women in the sports world, except for the ones who do the sideline broadcast, because like they know what they're getting into. They want to say 5 words in their 10 seconds of fame. But everyone else, I want to see them do well, especially in things that women are frowned upon, like sports. And basically everything.
No, I think eventually this is going to really, at some point, it's going to take off. I think it's going to do well.
We're 1 subscriber away from our next milestone, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I just looked at that earlier today.
Yeah, like tonight was pretty decent.
I agree with Matt. I don't care for the WNBA. But I also don't really care for the the NCAA women's either. Like, I know your buddy was like, "Hey, you should do a stream on that," and I was telling Shelby, I was like, I cannot think of one thing to say about that. Not one single thing, other than the fact that I knew that the Louisville Cardinals were in there and that the Indiana was the 4 seed, just because I happened to see it pop up one time. I just can't talk about women's basketball.
You can come up with
I don't follow it close enough to know anything about it. I mean, I know about Candace Parker, and that's about it. Maybe Elena Deladon.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. They're just WNBA players.
I hardly like basketball, so trying to keep up with two genders of basketball is way too much for me.
Yeah, Sonia, I could sit in here and get into this story about how I raised this kid and how she came up, and you would eat her up even more.
Yeah, see, women's softball is better than women's basketball, 100%.
Oh, for real. I love watching college women's softball.
It's so much fun. I went to a Kentucky doubleheader a couple of years ago, and it was a blast.
Yeah, the women's basketball is. Do I think that the WNBA is needed? Absolutely, I do. I think it's only fair to have it. It's just really hard to get the quality of play up there. There's very few that play in it that are that talented.
I mean, I do like women's soccer because the U.S. men's soccer is trash, except for Lou City. I love them. But in terms of national level, the men's team is literally garbage.
They can't even make the Olympics.
Yeah, they didn't even make the Olympics this year.
That seems like that should be impossible to say that based on the knowledge that.
Sorry, Matt, but it's true. If you can't make the World Cup or the Olympics, you're not that good because they used to. They used to be good. I like Major League Soccer, but the actual national team. Well, yeah, I agree that it's more tough, but like they used to be competitive in the national or the international leagues. They're just not anymore.
They don't have the competition there is. And back to the WNBA and how slow it is, it's kind of hard to compare it to the NBA because it's such a different style of basketball, and people are used to the NBA style of basketball now where it's just run and gun constant and dunks and flashy passes.
Oh, we're talking about soccer.
I know. I said back to the WNBA.
She's trying to get us back away from. She's trying to get.
I just wanted to. What?
That's fair.
Yeah.
But the only reason they focus on the women's more in the U.S. is because the women's are actually doing things. The national team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our women's national team could beat our men's national team in a game.
100%. And half of them are like new mothers at this point.
Maybe not 8 years ago, like the last World Cup they were in, or however many years ago that was. The men's team was okay then. They had a goalie and people who could score.
Oh,
now they don't have anything.
Tim Howard.
Yeah, Tim Howard was the GOAT.
Tim Howard and Hope Solo were like
There
the same.
are female commentators
Hold up.
What's going on?
that have been on
Okay, Amanda, your mic is like.
No, I think it's the
Awesome.
internet. I don't think it's the mic.
Oh, I was gonna say something.
But
Does she realize it yet?
turn
Nope.
I don't know.
Amanda?
Games.
Are you okay over there? Do I need to run across the street and knock on your door?
Is everything okay?
Absolutely not.
It's not okay.
Oh yeah, it's
You got your Wi-Fi on your phone or something? I'm so confused. You're just like,
All of us are lagging?
all of us are lagging?
congrats.
Wait, are we lagging or is she
You
lagging?
guys.
Hang
Sonia
on.
said all of us are lagging.
How can we all be lagging? Because we're on different connections, all of us, and we're all talking to each other. The only one we can't understand is her.
Wait, Amanda, type in the chat. Can you hear us? Like, good. Hang on. Can we, like... Okay, Matt says it's just Amanda. Ah! Weird.
Well, she's not stopped, so
Oh, well, she stopped on mine.
no, she's not stopped lagging.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. It was just like it.
It's almost like a beat, like a trap beat.
Yeah. I wanted to discuss the Saquon Barkley extension. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that.
I haven't seen that.
I think if anyone. Oh, well, see you later.
Well, see ya, Amanda. Anyway, the Giants co-owner John Mara.
Sour corn broccoli.
Yeah, stale corn broccoli.
Stale corn broccoli.
Yeah, that one.
Sorry.
So I'm going to read this headline. It says, Giants co-owner John Mara waiting for appropriate time to discuss Saquon Barkley extension.
Oh, so they haven't. They just
haven't.
in talks.
They're in talks of it, but it doesn't seem like they're coming to any sort of conclusion right now because they don't know if he's at 100%.
Well, no one knows if he's 100% other than him and maybe his doctors.
Right.
Because no one's seen or heard anything out of him.
Right. I mean, they waited so long for his surgery. I don't know when it was, honestly.
It was, well, he got hurt in like week 2 or week 3, and they had to wait like 8+ weeks to do it because of the swelling. It was towards the end of the season when he finally got the surgery he needed.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So, yeah, he might not even be ready by season time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's crazy that they haven't re-signed him because he is, if I had to guess, when it comes to like jersey sales and ticket sales, he is probably one of their bigger money makers.
Oh, 100%. It's not Daniel Jones, that's for sure.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't buy a
Closest thing
single
he
thing.
ever did was that 80-yard run.
The one where he ended up tripping over himself at the end.
Yeah, but even Patrick Mahomes was like, hey, I'm not saying anything because I don't think I could have done it either.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't run 80 yards straight that fast.
Oh, God, no. I think it's still just so crazy to me that, one, his swelling lasted that long.
Yeah, it was like 6 to 8 weeks before the swelling went down after the injury.
Right.
I'd say it was like week 2 when he got injured. It was probably closer to week 12 when he could take the surgery.
Yeah, it was. I know it was like over halfway through the season that it took. But that's crazy to me. Let's see. Other NFL news.
I'm trying to think. I read something today, and I want to say it was Tom Brady got out of surgery this week.
What
He
did
had
he have
surgery
surgery?
is on his knee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they announced it at the end of the season, like after the Super Bowl, that he had like some minor surgery in his knee he had to do.
Was that after he partied too hard?
Uh, Matt, we did talk about Andy Dalton, but the same people that were in here when we talked about him are no longer in here, so we can still talk about it if you want. We came to a consensus that we think he is better than Mitch Trubisky in Chicago. I think it's hilarious that he's there, and I think it's super funny that all of Chicago is like so disappointed and hate him. Uh, I mean, a lot of people hate him, but I think he's never had an offensive line to hold up long enough that he can show his actual potential. He always gets 3 seconds or less to throw a ball, or he's hit.
I mean,
and he throws an interception.
To be fair, if I were a Chicago fan, you're looking at Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, and you ended up with Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but Deshaun Watson, Houston was not budging on that. They're still not budging. They're trying to ruin his life, and they're still going to make him stay there.
What quarterbacks are still free agents that are out and about?
Not very many.
That's a good question, but I don't think there's a whole lot of them. I know Alex Smith.
Yeah, Alex Smith is a free agent at I'll Google it real quick. Free agent quarterbacks left.
Blake Bortles.
I think Colin Kaepernick is available.
AJ McCarron.
CJ Beathard.
RG3.
Somebody picked him up. I read it.
Matt Barkley, Blaine Gabbert, Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullins, the dude who played for the 49ers this year.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out who they could have got that would be better at this point.
AJ McCarron. But I think they said they were going to keep AJ McCarron in Houston.
I didn't see his name.
Russell's still up for grabs, but he's still not said that he wanted to leave. So I'm thinking he's still going to be in Seattle this year.
I don't think he's leaving. I think he was just throwing some options up there.
Well, all the teams that he said he'd be willing to go to have either re-signed or signed somebody.
Right.
Because he wanted the Cowboys, the Saints. Yeah, the Cowboys, the Saints, the Bears, and I think the Jets were actually the fourth one, but, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah. I don't think Cap actually wants to play football anymore. I think he just wants the fame. If I'm being 100% honest. He knows he can't keep up anymore. I mean, he blew off those two what were those? They're basically like pro days for him. Yeah. He just blew them off. He wanted to do them on his terms, and they said no, so he said no.
Yeah, he wanted it. He was like, I'll do it, but if we do it here, and they were like, no. And they were like, well, we're not going to do it then. Because he wanted to do it at some high school instead of like at a stadium or whatever.
Right, which doesn't make any sense at all.
Publicity stunt.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to think of what free agents are even left right now
Let me look it up.
that we have not talked about.
Well, I'm at a loss because I can't think of anybody of any meaning that's not been picked up.
That's what I'm looking right now. Austin Reeder, actually, from the Chiefs.
I thought I saw his name tied to something, but it wasn't on my list today.
This is from
Todd Gurley
today.
hasn't been signed yet. Todd Gurley or Le'Veon Bell or Duke Johnson or Adrian Peterson.
Villanueva from the Steelers.
Didn't he
James
retire?
Conner. No, that was Pouncey who retired.
Yeah. Bashad is actually still
Yeah, Bashad
on the free
Breeland.
agent. Kenny Stills.
Oh, someone was looking at Kenny Stills. It might have been the Chiefs, actually.
Ryan Kerrigan.
No one's picked up Ryan Kerrigan yet?
No, he had a visit with the Bengals.
Yeah, see, I knew that. I hope the Bengals still sign him.
I hope so too, but it says it's also possible he re-signs with Washington. And those,
Yeah, if Washington's smart, they'll keep him.
yeah, those are like the 10 or 6 or however many I just named.
Yeah, Jarek McKinnon, Le'Veon Bell.
Jadeveon Clowney, is he still left on there?
I have not seen him signed anywhere.
Didn't see his name anywhere.
Yeah, Miami has the 6th overall pick and another first-round pick this year, and they get 2 first-round picks next year and 2 first-round draft picks the year after because of that blockbuster trade with the 49ers and then with the Eagles.
So here at position, it's like the top remaining free agents. So Alex Smith, Matt Barkley, Nick Mullins, Blake Bortles, and Nate Suffield.
Yeah, so there's not really that many hot quarterbacks left.
No, and then running backs, you got James Conner, Todd Gurley,
Yeah,
Duke Johnson.
Are you on the CBS post?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
And then you have Adrian Peterson, which
AP.
I don't know if anyone will pick him up due to his age and stuff.
Someone might. Frank Gore played last year.
That's true. Golden Tate's still out.
Yeah, he just got cut though.
Cordell Patterson.
Cordella Patterson. He can come be the return man for the Chiefs. I wouldn't be mad about that.
No. Danny Amendola. He played for the Lions.
Oh, yeah. I remember him now that you said the Lions, but if you hadn't have said that, I'd been like, I have no idea who that is.
Alshon Jeffrey and Dede Westbrook are actually both still available.
Ooh, I love me some Alshon Jeffrey.
And Rex Burkhead. Back to running backs.
I didn't see Rex.
Yeah, he's still on there.
He might re-sign for a year with the Patriots.
That's what I was thinking. Tyler Eifert.
He might come back to Cincinnati to retire.
Maybe. I mean, he's still pretty young, but I don't think he has much left in him.
Yeah, because he's like hurt every single season.
Yeah. Ricky Seals-Jones from the Chiefs.
Yeah, I knew that.
Mitchell Schwartz and Fish haven't been picked up either.
I hope Fish comes to Cincinnati. I don't want Schwartz. Oh, I think Schwartz might retire because he said he's not leaving Kansas City. He just built that house.
Wow.
Yeah, he said he's not leaving, so I don't think he'll play next year. But I want Fish to come to Cincinnati. He's still got gas in that tank.
Didn't Miami get set? Yeah, Miami got like 12 picks for the next few.
Yeah, I already answered that for him.
That's crazy.
But Trevor's probably going to go to the Jags, but I'm still convinced that the Jags might pick up Justin Fields.
Yeah, it's such a toss
And
up.
if Justin Fields goes first, Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jets.
So by next week, we should have some definitive opinions on where we think these top 10 draft picks, who it's going to be.
Yeah, I'll work on a list.
Yeah, I'll try to scrub something up. I don't know if I'll be able to get in next week. I think I work late.
What?
I think I work late next Thursday, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get in. But
Yeah, I'm thinking the Jets too. If he doesn't go first, he's going to be with the Jets.
So who do you think your top receiver is going to be?
Jamar Chase.
You think so?
Yeah, he's the best receiver in the draft. I know that Devontae Adams won the Heisman, but I still think Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the draft. And I think he will end up with Cincinnati.
Joe Burrow wants him bad.
Yeah, that's the sole reason why I think that's where he'll end up.
Yeah, he said he's not opposed to it. I was just reading that a little bit ago. I mean, how could you be opposed to it with Joe Burrow, like, basically your homeboy, just pulling for you the whole time?
Yeah, I think that's what – I mean, realistically, they should probably take Panay just to shut the fans up and because he's a good pick. But I personally think there's enough offensive line in this draft to cover all of their needs and be able to take who they want in the first round. Who are you talking to?
I'm just chatting it up.
Who are you chatting with when we're right here? Sorry, we're not entertaining enough for you. You're not chatting with me.
No, I know. See, got me busted.
You got yourself busted with your click. You're typing. You're texting like this.
Click, 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 click.
I know.
Click.
Okay, are we really going to go there now? I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Are you texting your boyfriend?
I was talking to our friend,
Who's our friend?
the world's greatest woman, human being ever.
Sonia.
Lady Gaga? I don't think you're talking to her, but Sonia's next. She's definitely right there with her. You think I could read that? I'm not even trying to read that because it hurts my eyes.
Well, I wouldn't lie, so.
Matt says you're talking to him, so.
There. Yeah, there we go. Defend me. I just got in trouble for having a conversation with you.
Well, your phone is so loud. It says it.
Sorry, it's my microphone. You know how well it picks up.
Send. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I am going to bed because I got to get up in the morning. What time do you want to leave?
Well, you gotta leave by 1. I gotta be there by 2.
I was thinking about going up a little early because I'm probably going to drive about 40 vehicles tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm riding in all of them. I'm not making fun of you for talking on the phone. I'm making fun of you for being so damn loud. You're going.
I can't.
Okay, all right, Sonia. I need you to back me up, girl. You can't tell me you can't hear him typing. Wait for it.
I'm typing.
I
Oh,
hear
I
it.
hear you.
Okay. Now I stopped.
No, you didn't. I can
No.
still hear it.
I'm closing.
Yeah, there you go. She said that's on him. Yeah, you're allowed to have friends, Dad, but you don't have to be like. Just turn the volume off your phone. Turn the clicks off. Yeah, when you type like that, you know, people that come from other like from your live stream think that's me typing.
I'll just leave it alone.
You're allowed to have friends. I'm not a controlling dad. I'm not saying you're controlling either, so don't take it that way, but I was referring to me as your dad.
I got it.
Matt, even if someone was blowing up my phone right now, you know that I wouldn't answer.
I feel like half the time I think I'm probably the only person you answer
Sometimes.
sometimes.
I would literally turn my phone off all day, every day. I would never have a phone if I didn't have to.
Right on, Sonia. Tell her.
Well, I hope you get back into football because once football season comes up, these live streams are going to be even more fun because we'll have real-time content to continuously talk about. And
Sunday.
I'm excited.
We do some Sunday night streams
Yeah,
after
here
the
we go.
game.
Matt knows 3 to 5 business days for a reply. That's what it's like trying to talk to me.
It's like 3 to 5 business days with the United Postal Service. For some people, it's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, no shame in the game. I don't like my phone.
Okay. Well, I'm out. I'm going to bed.
Dog. Why you coming at me like that, dog? You know I'm just loving you.
I know.
I just love you, man. You're my best friend, man.
Got you, man.
If you look at my phone, it just says dad under my phone list.
That doesn't mean I'm your best friend. That means I'm your only one.
I got Wolf Cat.
Ow.
Wolf Cat 5K.
God, do you realize how much anxiety would be going on right now if Mark would have stayed?
Oh, man. I had a headache before we started just because I was tired. My head would be bleeding right now, like straight through the forehead. But I'd be laughing.
Well, if you guys are going to continue on, I say do so. But I am going to bed because I got to be at Walmart at 9 o'clock.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. My sister's in there too, but it's all you. I don't know how to focus this. But it's you, literally, you. My sister, you.
You know, I don't care what anybody says, Sonia. I feel like I raised a mock of myself. I made her just like me as many times as humanly possible growing up. And I made her as little like her mother as humanly possible. She's what her attitude all comes from me. She's done everything in my shadow her whole life. And now she's emerged as that type of person. She's got the will and she's stubborn as fuck.
Also, shut up, Matt. But I will do my best to make Mark come on next week because, you know, at least once a month we need a arguing with Mark day.
Yeah, one
because
of these days.
It makes me feel good to watch him get that upset.
I feel like that should just be the name of the streams, like arguing with Mark.
One Thursday a month, we have to get him to agree to come on. And I'm just going to title it Arguing with Mark. Everyone come take your shot.
Yeah, if you want to slam on the Cubs and Carson Wentz, that's the perfect time to do it.
The Cubs, Carson Wentz, the Pacers. I could slam on Tom Brady and he'd get offended, and Tom Brady's never played for a team he cares about.
Yeah, you know, I love baseball. And that's another one that I'm pretty well versed into.
Oh, we love you, Sonia, so much. You're welcome on our show or just to hang out in the chat anytime you want. You're a real one. Maybe we'll come swimming one day with you. Swimming.
Go learn how to scuba dive, boo.
I mean, I don't even swim.
I was gonna say you don't even like the water, so.
I love the water. I just don't like to swim. It's not because I'm afraid. I'm weird. But I'll do it. Especially if we're going to swim next to sharks.
Heck yeah.
I'll do anything that involves sharks. You know what's on my bucket list? This is like my unrealistic bucket list, and it has been for as long as I can remember. I want to get bit by a shark. I mean, not like a great white shark. I would just die. But like, if I got my arm bitten off by a shark, that would be the most badass thing to ever happen to me, and it would be awesome. But I just mean like one of those tiny, little tiny sharks just to bite my finger, and I can tell everyone I got bit by a shark because it's still a shark. I don't think sharks are mean, and I don't want to hurt them, but it'd be pretty cool.
Just have like a small like shark bite right here.
Yeah, I want a scar. I want a shark scar. Yeah, well, I'm just saying I don't want to live life without a limb, but if the only way I'd be okay with losing a limb is if a shark did it.
Okay, I'm officially out.
All right, that's a big 10 for Bob.
And where's my
Love
button?
you.
Love you too.
Love you so much. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Okay. Where's my damn button?
Bye, Sonia.
Oh, yeah. See ya.
See you next week, hopefully.
See ya, Matt.
Bye, Wolfcat.
Oh.
He said 9 grams. All right, but I have to do things tomorrow too, or else I would just stay and talk about nothing with just Sonia and Matt and you. But next time,
come in the living room and let's talk about nothing.
Or we could go to bed.
That works too.
All right, for reals though, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.